Yes, I think we are live. Hi. Hello, folks. Sorry to keep you waiting. Many of you have been messaging on WhatsApp, messaging here on the chat. When can we go live? When can we go live? But we are finally live. If you can see us, if you can hear me, just give maybe an emoji reaction or maybe hi in the chat. I see many of you have already joined. Yes, I can see a few thumbs up. Yes.
Hi everyone. Abhay, are we audible?
Yes, Siddhant, you're audible. Perfect.
Perfect.
Yeah. So, folks, I'll try to keep the introductions short. Abhay this side and Nakshi this side from the product folks, and with me we have Vidit and Siddhant from Tide team, and probably other folks from Tide team will also join. I think Anshul sir we are expected to join also. Quick introduction about TPF in case you are joining this teardown session for the first time. We are one of the India's largest community of product builders, product managers out there. Been building the community for last 5 years. Have an active member base of more than 150,000 plus members across India and outside as well. We do engagements, activities, and initiatives which help overall product community to grow in their career. We do cohorts, we do teardown sessions, we do learning sessions, we do panels, fireside chats, we do networking events offline across cities also. So, and all of them basically ties up to a single goal of helping the community, helping people out there to learn and grow in their product careers. Simple as that. This month we have Tide, a fintech from UK, who has been partnering with us to conduct this entire teardown challenge. I think most of you have participated would be fairly aware of the problem statement, so I'll not be going into the problem statement. But yeah, Siddhant and Vidit, I would like that if one of you can just introduce Tide overall and anything else that people should be knowing about Tide before we begin.
Hi everyone. I've been very happy with the submissions. Abhay, thanks for the kind introduction. Very happy to see the memes also, by the way, in the chat. Uh, Quick introduction about Tide is a global business finance platform. We've entered India in the last 3 years. Last year has been phenomenal in terms of growth. We reached somewhere around 550,000 odd members in India. We're enabling MSMEs with their banking experiences. We're enabling MSMEs with accounting, and we are enabling MSMEs with access to credit now, which is the vertical that you guys have done this problem statement for. Both me and Vidit, we come from lending backgrounds. Tide wants to have a very clear marketplace experience and solve that uh, with a very clear focus on how easy, how seamless, and how linear the journey can be. And we've seen a lot of that coming from the decks that we've seen from the people that were in the challenges. We have to say that you guys have given us a very hard job in terms of judging. We will make sure that teams that haven't had the chance to be in the top finals, we will give a couple of mentions. Abhay, I will tell you the ones that were really close. Those guys need to have a round of applause for them also, right?
Yeah,
uh,
definitely.
we can start we can start.
Super. So I think how the flow will go is we have our top 8 teams with us. We will be selecting the order in terms of how the presentations will go with the random pick a wheel. Nakshi, I think, will be helping us with that. I hope everyone has joined. I think me and Nakshi had checked that everyone on the finalist team had already joined. So Nakshi, probably we can begin with the pick a wheel.
Yes, I'll share my screen.
Yeah.
Is my screen visible?
Yes, visible.
Yes, let's go with the first participant. So we have Abhishek joined here for the honor of presentation.
Yes. Abhishek, if you are in chat, just raise your hand so we should be able to get you at the stage.
Abhishek, are you here?
I think I saw him when we
Yes,
started.
I invited him.
Yeah.
Yes, Abhishek has joined.
Hello.
Hello,
Hi,
Abhishek.
Abhishek. We can hear you, but
Hi,
I think
Abhishek.
your video is off. Yes, your video is also good.
Great.
Everybody, very nice to see you guys.
Yeah.
Uh,
So, Abhishek, I think you can screen share. We'll just quickly check if your screen is visible, and Nakshi
sure.
will give you a timer nudge at the end of it. Maybe
Okay.
6 minutes also. Yeah,
Okay. Got it. How much total time do I have?
7 minutes.
7 minutes. Sorted. Fair. Let me know when you guys just give
Yeah.
it a start. I will screen share also. Just a second. So I'll give you a brief introduction while I'm doing the screen share. I come from a fintech background myself, and I have been an APM for the past 1 year. I did a lot of products that involve fraud detection and risk analytics for companies. I've recently joined Pine Labs as their associate product manager under the company that they've recently acquired called Setu. Let me know if
Screen is
you,
visible, I think, Abhishek. We are good to start.
Yes, you
yes.
can start, Abhishek.
Yeah.
Great. So the introduction is done. I'll just take you directly to the
Just
journey
start with the
itself.
presentation. And timer would have
Yes.
already started now.
Yes. So I'll just brief a little bit on what the problem was given and what was the key deliverable that was expected out of the problem.
Abhishek,
So
you can directly start with the Figma.
okay, okay.
Yeah,
So
just jump in right into the solution. That'll be better. Thanks.
Yes.
yes, yes, yes. Great. So can I take it ahead if you guys can
Yes.
mute? I'll just start. Yeah, so on the problem, we had been requested for a prototype flow, and I had just 2 minutes into what the process was. I went through all the journeys that the competition has to offer and did a little bit of data analysis in the way as well to make the user journey as easy and seamless as possible. For example, as you can see, these are some API responses for Udyam, MCA, and GST, which I'll be automating in the process itself. So as soon as a business comes on, they see this landing page where they can get started and enter their mobile number to get registered onto the Tide platform. There are multiple things that are offered on the platform currently, one of which is business loans. Once you create an account, you only have to enter your phone number, validate it through an OTP, and then you are good to go. And people can see this first option itself where they can apply for loan and funding options. Onto the first screen itself, the unique proposition that Tide aims to offer is a comparison between multiple loan offers that they can have with across 50 plus providers. Obviously, these providers will be decided based on the tie-ups that we have with these banks. uh, once a user has a clear insight on what they are going to enter into, there is a 5-step simple process that shows, and it also shows a timeline that in the next 3 minutes they'll be able to complete the entire loan application process. After which they're nudged to start the application process by this button. A quick UX insight on what I've tried to do here in the journey itself, as you can see. To minimize the task perception, the entire flow was broken down into 5 key steps. Those key steps will be looked at starting with the personal information. In the personal information, the user only has to enter their PAN details, enter their date of birth, and they can press next. There are micro UX features that have been included. A calendar modal that is used generally in the apps causes a UX friction. So just adding the dates is much simpler in just 3 simple formats. Uh, to validate the PAN, an OTP has been sent to their linked phone number. They can enter the OTP and they're validated. Now, instead of entering the details himself, we have gotten his name, date of birth, and his gender from the PAN details itself. So we know that this information is completely verified. If we go to the next step, after each step, it's shown that they've completed a significant milestone, and they can have a look at their progress so far across all the journeys. So the personal information is completed. They are now on the business information front. On which, as I spoke about, the 3 external APIs that we'll be using to gather information on a business that has been registered on any of the 3 places either GST, MCA, or Udyam. Let's say the person is registered on GST. The next process would just involve entering their GST number. And again, as you can see, save the progress later is another feature that we've added to the top, where they can save a progress to draft. Either they can complete the application later, or they can continue the process. Let's just continue the process. And then the longer the task, then we've broken it down and save the draft feature has been added, which I just explained you about. Now the GST has been scraped out. They have all of their information right in front of them, and they do not have to enter any of these information manually. So one key pain point for other providers in the market was that the manual entry of data was extremely tedious for users. So this makes it much easier for them. Once this process is completed, they head on to the next step, where either a credit score check can be performed, or their bank transaction data can be shared through an account aggregator. This process gives access to credit for people who do not have a credit history itself. So banks can analyze the 6 month previous transaction history to identify if the person is credit worthy or not. So this information will be shared, but at the same time, the credit score of the user will also be shared. So for a credit score to be calculated and shared with the provider, their PAN, phone number, and name, date of birth is required, which all of the details that we have covered in the previous steps. That information will be directly shared with the banks, and here they can grant consent for their transaction history of their previous bank. The step 3 is also completed after this, after which they can expect a simple form where they enter how much loan has been expected by them. Let's say 3 lakh rupees is a loan that I'm expecting as an MSME. I just have to
Abhishek,
give a
2
reason
minutes
on.
to go.
Great. At this stage, they'll quickly be able to go through multiple offers that they have, and there'll be 3 major fields that you can see: the bank, the provider, interest rate, EMI, and the chance of approval. Based on the chance of approval, they can choose whichever offer seems most viable to them. Once they've completed the step 4, coming on, they will have to do a KYC process, which will be outsourced through an external service provider, something like what a Credit B does. Using their APIs, there is an entire eKYC process that happens, where the address of the person is also validated with their face ID as well. The address has been shared. They have to enter a few nomination details, and the process is complete. The entire process was less than 3 minutes, is what I had calculated previously. Obviously, this is the happy flow, and there are other things that can affect the process. One final thing that I would like to cover here is that once the loan process has been completed, the entire end-to-end journey is being taken care of, where post-approval, the agreement and e-signature will be happening through e-sign on Aadhaar. The disbursement and the final documentation signing will be happening. And the last step, where the post-loan management and repayment is handled, Setu offers a BBPS solution, where there can be an auto payment that can be set for people who apply for these loans. So the goal of this entire project was to streamline the journey as much as possible, and make it super easy for people to even do the payment of their loan application in EMI formats. So that's it, guys.
Super. Thanks. Thanks, Abhishek. I think Siddhant, with it, any of you can take over.
Hi,
I'm sorry,
Abhishek.
due to the time crunch, I had to rush a little too much. I hope I could make sense.
No, it's okay. Fair enough. I think we got a very clear gist of how you went about the problem. Right. Couple of things that I wanted to note was,
Yeah.
so we saw the journey, right? We, and like you were talking. So I think both Vidit and me had this that this journey kind of became more on the aggregated lending side, apart from the marketplace side also, right? The UX, the one way that we were thinking is that we'll hold the hand, right from the moment where the lead is created, and then we'll walk
Yes.
them through the finish line till disbursement, right? Even in your
Yes.
last slide, you're talking about how post post finishing
Post
there is,
disbursement
yeah,
process will
so on
happen.
and so
Yes.
forth, right? So what I want to understand is, when you were going through competition,
Yeah.
and when you were laying that assumption, right? Because we went through your deck earlier also,
Yeah.
was the assumption that Tide is also lending, or was the assumption Tide is also referring? And when you were approaching competition, right? When you were teardowning the competition or understanding the competition, what was the thought process that you were picking from there? So I want to kind of understand quickly that gist.
Got it. Just to clarify if I'm understanding the question correctly, what you mean to say is that is Tide the one who's going to offer these loans, or are there partners that are involved with Tide, right? Am I
Yes.
right?
So
So I
again,
approached the
marketplace
problem.
or aggregator or lender,
Yes.
right? So that's one part that I want to ask, because
Ah.
I want to see that where your approach went.
Is it okay if I just answer that first and then we move on to the next question that you
Yes,
have?
please.
So answering that question, the approach that I had taken talks about Tide being a partnership with multiple other lending providers. And what Tide does is this is the forefront of Tide where the loan application process would happen. But there is also a approval process that will be a B2B solution to the lender partners that we collaborate with. Let's say, for example, I collaborate with HDFC. They have a dashboard that has Tide players, and their underwriting team can go through the applications that have come through Tide. So that becomes more of a CRM and the end-to-end solution for the lending partners that we have, as well as the B2C solution that we're going for, where we offer the marketplace solution for um, businesses.
Okay.
Could I answer that correctly?
Yeah. See,
Yeah.
it was
So-
more. It wasn't more about correct or incorrect. It
Yeah.
was just very clear about where did the train of thought start, right?
Yes.
So I wanted to get a very clear. Now let's move to the second part of the question.
Yes.
Right. So that's where I think now when I was talking, when you were approaching competition, right, you already had this genesis in mind that
Yes.
it is going to get through partnerships, so on and so forth. So
Yes.
when you were designing this journey, right, and
Yeah.
if you're doing an under 3 minute job,
Yes.
we have to approach the UX in the manner where product types also matter, right?
Got it.
So what product type was highlighted here
Hmm.
was a generic product type journey that has gone through,
The
right?
business
Now,
loan only.
so that's what I'm saying. A business loan could be secured, unsecured. A business loan could have multiple layers of requirements, right? The
Yes.
business product side of it and the digital product side of it, both
Got it.
different, right? So now that's where I want to understand now walk me through that journey. With it, feel free to add on, right? We've had this discussion where, yeah, you want to join from here? It's more than happy.
I mean, just adding to that fact.
Yes.
So the 3 minutes on the same thing. So 3 minutes does. I mean, you've added a lot of APIs that is pre-approved. I mean, pre-fillings, scrapings, GST scraping, and so on. So those will also factor into those 3 minutes, right? So the journey that you're talking about is in 3 minutes. In terms of practicality, it might end up being a lot longer, where you're pulling the bureau, the civil response time that it's going to take, or the GST response time it's going to take, or the PAN
Absolutely.
response time it's going to take. So have you been able to factor all of those things in, or does a 3 minute only compute to just the dummy variables that you are filling in?
So since I have used most of the APIs through Idify and other providers, was the research process, and I knew a little bit of providers out there in the market. The average turnaround time for GST, MCA, and these details that we enter, we get roughly a 0.5 or a 2 second duration for getting this information that I have experienced in the past. I might be wrong, but I have seen that the response time does not last from 0.5 seconds to 2 seconds when it comes to the GST MCA data. When you're talking about PAN, I am unclear on how much duration does that take. So since this was a design prototype itself and I did not get a chance to get these APIs and the average response time, I cannot really comment on that. But I think a 3-minute duration could be extended by 30 seconds at max.
Understood.
Done?
Yeah.
Okay, I think more or less, Abhishek, we just wanted to see the train of thought. We wanted to see how you were calculating and factoring that, journey.
Absolutely.
I think, Abhay, we are done with the questions.
I just sorry.
Do you have one?
Yeah.
Sorry.
So another one. So again, you included all of these automations to improve on the journeys, right? So that obviously every product journey requires there is as minimal manual filling and so on as possible.
Yes.
Have you been able to factor in the cost associated with it and the business impact to the journey itself. Like, what kind of drop-off minimizations does it impact in terms of all of the costs that we will be incurring with the PAN, with the GST, with the bureau, and maybe a couple more other API integrations. Because every time we do these integrations, we have to factor in, okay, it will improve the efficiency of the journey, or maybe it will reduce the manual effort, but it always comes at a significant cost.
Absolutely. So if we plan on doing these capabilities and enabling them in-house, then obviously there'll be an added cost that would be involved. But if we go out with some vendors to begin with and start with an MVP to see how much drop-off has been happening, as you rightly said, the experimentation would be able to help us with more data. But when it comes to the pricing, I think collaborating with other vendors, we can expect a 5 to 10 rupee cost involved in screening each of the application. Based on the number of disbursement and the cut that we're able to make in terms of business from our lending partners, we would have to do a cost efficiency analysis on that front.
No,
So just based on hypothesis, I can't really answer those.
No, I understood. As a product person, I think you always have to factor in the kind of two things, which is, the efficiency improvement that you
Absolutely.
should be able to account for,
Yes.
with your thought process and your experience as an experienced product person, I would say. So where you should be able to say, okay, if we do not do this, or if we do this, it should have an estimate of 5 to 7 or 10 or 15% kind of an impact that we should see in the throughput of the funnel. And maybe, okay, the cost can be factored in later on, and it can be researched in the market and so on. But yeah.
Absolutely. That's it from my side.
Perfect. Thanks for participating, Abhishek.
Thank you, Abhishek.
Thank you so much. I hope you liked.
Yeah,
my
absolutely.
journey of the day.
What we wanted to, on a very casual note, share was that we loved
Yes.
your KYC photo. We absolutely did. The entire team.
Got a realism to the journey, so good job on that.
Great.
Thanks, Abhishek. I think
thank
you
you so
can
much. It was a
leave the
great.
stage from
Yes.
your side. That should do.
Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.
Thanks.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Bye.
I think Nakshi, you can screen share, and we can see who will be the next presenter.
Yes. Okay, so next up we have Gayathri. Gayathri, can you please raise your hand?
Yeah.
Gayathri, are you there?
Hello.
Hi, Gayathri. Welcome. Can you please turn on your video?
Hi, Gayathri.
Okay, how do I do that? Just give me a second. Yeah.
Hi, Gayathri.
Hi. All right. I can just get into it, I think.
Yeah, just do
Time.
a screen share, so we should be just able to give you a heads up if we are able to see.
Yeah.
Good. जो कैमरे पे और
Can you see my screen?
Yes, your screen is visible.
Yeah.
All right.
You can start.
You can start.
Okay. All right. In the interest of time, I'm just going to get right into it. So the loan which I have chosen for this teardown is the business loan, and I'm going to approach it like that. A small disclaimer is some of the solution, while most of the flow is based in the reality of today's scenario, there are also a few feature suggestions which are made considering how upcoming tech is. So I believe that we need to build for the future considering the pace of how fast tech moves. So a few of the features are considering the future market also. So let me get right into it. Maybe I can start with the users a little bit. I don't know. So there are a few different users like new entrepreneurs, SME owners, startup founders, traditional businesses, etc. And one thing which I think binds all of them is their monthly income may not be consistent. So that and also some of the certain segments may not be as tech savvy as most other apps require. So I feel like those two things are at the heart of what I've designed in terms of the process. So I can just get right into the loan process. So I feel one way in which Tide can differentiate with other existing loan providers is in having like a more diverse language setting. So you can actually select the display language when you log in. Once you enter, it's through mobile number. You can instead of typing your email ID, you can do through Google. And I feel like instead of asking the PAN number inside, we ask the PAN number right at the login. So this is something which I saw on CreditBee, and I really liked that experience because it verifies you when you're entering the app itself, and a lot of information about your persona is available, and that your homepage can be curated for you in that way itself. This is a little bit about the homepage. So you have the loan eligibility at the top. So typically now a lot of people, the way they check loan eligibility is through credit score, right? And while I think that makes sense, I think the future also, especially considering our target audience, could be through UPI integrations where they may not have a good credit score. Like if I were to do freelance now, I may not have a good credit score, good enough credit score to get a good loan, but my UPI transactions could probably give me a better chance of getting a loan. Then we have a few high frequency actions here. We have a way to explore loans. So I've used very minimal graphics and very clear written information as to what it is, and some way to compare offers also. I feel like this has a dual purpose. You also show like, okay, I have these partners on Tide. So it instills some kind of trust initially on the homepage itself, and you can look at their loans and compare offers, even if you're not eligible for them initially. And then a short sort of informative thing, instead of giving an FAQ section somewhere randomly in the app, they can actually have a overall view just to mentally prepare that, okay, this is how the process is going to be. So they feel better in just going ahead. And we can also give other tools like calculate your loan EMI in seconds, small tools to just get them back. So let me just get right into the business, getting a business loan. So I feel like we need to ask as less questions. We need to give as much value to the users as quickly as possible, to actually make them feel like they're getting something out of this, which I feel like a lot of other platforms don't do. They ask too many questions initially and only then show you the loans. So we ask very basic questions like your employment details, your business details, and the amount you need as a loan. And for example, the business details, if I type in my GST number, ideally it could be filled, but if we don't want to go that route, we can also manually fill it, and you can get your loans for you. So in this page, you have different loans which are available for you depending on your profile. I feel with AI, you can also recommend loans like something like this and why it's recommended to you. You can all, and at this point, we are asking the user to compare, right, between these different loans and make a decision as to which one they want to apply for. So there is also a compare feature where I can basically favorite different loans and I can compare their different parameters.
Gayatri, 2 minutes to go.
Oh, okay. Let me just. There's also filter with approval probability. Let me just go quickly. A little bit of, okay, maybe I'll just go ahead. So once you select your loan, you can begin your application. There's also a link. You can link to your accounting software in terms of business. Like a lot of businesses have that. So you may not need to fill all this if you have that linking, but if you want to automatically fill also, you can. And yeah, through different verifications, you can fill this. At any point in this process, you can step out all of this auto saves and you can come back to it. Now, once I've submitted my application, this is how it would look on the home screen, where it says, actually, no, it's submitted. And then after we need to wait for it to be approved. After it is approved, this is how it would look on the home screen, and then you have to confirm the approval, which is basically read through the fine print and all the loan repayment information. You add your bank account details and sign your loan documentation. And yeah, then your loan has been confirmed. In addition to that, after your loan has been confirmed, it goes for processing, and by the time it is processed and it is dispersed to you, it looks somewhat like this, where it says it's an active loan. And you can go into this and you can actually see different active, how much you have paid of it, how much is remaining, how much is overdue. Also, I feel that because traditionally now the way EMIs work is monthly, some amount is either auto deducted or it is you have to pay it up. That's how it usually works. But considering our specific target segment, there are new ways of doing this where I can actually, depending on how much I'm earning in a month, we can actually
Gayathri, time is up. If you could quickly wrap up.
okay, we could suggest basically how much of loan money they can pay, so that they don't default on their loans, because I feel we also need to focus on not just selling loans to people, but also making sure that they don't default on their loans. I think that is one thing which is really important and would make Tide be a differentiator. In addition to that, we could also give referral bonuses for people who refer their friends. And there is one more small thing, sorry, be very quick. Where there is a tide assist, and this is obviously a little futuristic, where users can be, in addition to chatbot, etc., there could also be voice mode where people can talk to a person, to an AI, and that can help you out. It can also have this co-browsing feature, which I saw in Lenskart, if anybody has used Lenskart, where you can actually contact an agent and they can hold your hand through the process, help you to upload your documents, etc., like while you're on the phone. They can help you like through the screen, like figure out how to do it using the share feature, share screen feature. So I think these sort of hand holding processes would really help make it more human and just make it more accessible for a person who is not used to using apps like this. So yeah, sorry for going a little over time.
Yeah, I think you can stop presenting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Gayathri.
Hi, Gayathri.
Hello.
So I think obviously it's been a very impressive presentation. I think we do remember going through the presentation for about an hour as well. So good work on that. I think the journey was very well made. I think one quick question that I have is, I think the primary purpose of the journey was to reflect a more marketplace kind of a model. I think you've taken an approach towards more of a lending model. I think, especially considering the alternate data fact that you mentioned. So I think the alternate data part entirely depends on the partners that we'll be working with, rather than being a choice that we might make. So essentially, choosing civil or alternate data, I mean, that's entirely on the lender. For us, we could utilize that alternate data option. Again, it will first come at a cost. Second, it could come as a result. I mean, it could result in a certain level of drop-offs. But it could certainly help in terms of analytics or data science on our end to ensure that we are getting the right kind of customers.
I agree. So if you look at the flow, right, even without these other ways of pulling data, etc., there is a very basic manual flow which works anyway, right? It doesn't depend on these preconceived, these assumptions which I'm making that, okay, we're going to have this integration or that integration. It works anyway. Like I can manually fill all of this information and go ahead anyway.
Understood.
But I think in terms of cost, I really haven't worked on figuring out how much everything costs. Like I really haven't looked into that at all.
I think that's understandable. I think the beginning part where I'll go back to is you started well with the language. I think often a lot of people miss something as simple as that. I think considering the diverse population that we have in India, I think language is a big factor there. especially when you mentioned, just to make it easier for different groups of people, especially self-employed who are not as tech savvy and so on. But from there on, I think we move on to the PAN, where you mentioned it's a very good thing to take PAN early on, or someone like KB is already utilizing it. But don't you think PAN is such a personal information, at least in my experience, this is where the largest drop-off happens primarily in most of the journeys for immediate data, at least. So a customer who might not remember their PAN, or who might feel insecure sharing that kind of info early on, we might just lose that customer entirely, who might just drop off from the app, and then we have no way of even contacting that customer, or even knowing which customers were there who kind of dropped off. So don't you think that's a large impact as compared to the benefits?
Yeah, so I think this is something which we should test out, right? Because so I used these multiple different apps, and somehow for me, giving my PAN detail was not as big of a. And I'm usually a little worried about sharing my data, but it wasn't that much of a worry because I already had like some sort of trust with that application before. So I think ha- uh, having some sort of trust factor while in the entry process, that's super important. And yeah, I think but yeah, I think we need to test it out to figure out how
So
well.
I think I'll do a leading question to that.
Mhm.
From the user personas that you had
Yeah,
mentioned,
yeah.
which one are you?
So I would probably be closest to the freelancer.
Okay.
Yeah,
And then when you were using KB, right,
yeah.
evaluating KB,
Mm-hmm.
that was a very clear thought process, right?
Yeah. I mean, yes. Not. I wouldn't say that I was evaluating it, thinking of only that specific one. I was
Hmm.
thinking of people who genuinely want a business loan, right? I'm like it could be any of those, and they
Hmm.
have multiple different options available to them. But
Okay.
their primary thing is to get a business loan. My primary thing to go into that was to do research.
Okay.
So it was a little
No,
bit.
see, what I can understand is that you wanted to do a input minimalistic approach, right?
Mm-hmm.
That usually, uh, I understand that's to reduce friction. But
Mm-hmm.
lending is a game of variables, right? A lot of
Mm-hmm.
variables that go into, and you were talking about income inconsistency. You were talking about, so underwriting involves those patterns. Underwriting involves, even when we are talking about aggregation as a model, right?
Mm-hmm.
When Tide wants to refer to lenders, each lender has a different policy. L1 to LN, each lender has a set of variables that want to do, they want to consume, and then they want to give a decision.
Mm-hmm.
So when you go for a minimalistic input approach, uh, it could have that classic paradox of your bug is your own feature, right?
Right.
So that decisions can be far away from reality, because
Mm-hmm.
the lender will then, after you giving them a seamless approach and
Mm-hmm.
showing them that the finish line is this close, right, it's right here, and then
Mm-hmm.
the lender tells you, okay, when you want the money in your account, we'll have more data that we need more information, we need 3 more calls, 4 more emails, so on and so forth, right? So that's I think where I'm getting at. uh,
But do you feel that PAN is too like I understand the point of.
no, this isn't linked to PAN, by the way.
Oh,
This is
okay.
linked to the approach. When you were talking
Um,
about PAN, is just one part where we were talking
mhm.
about to see, given the friction that you wanted to eliminate with PAN, that's a different
Yeah,
aspect. This I'm talking about the
in
in
general.
yeah, no, you wanted less input of info.
Yeah,
You're saying
yeah,
there's a lot of manual input, there's a lot of questions that uh,
yeah,
people ask in their journey. They must have done that with a lot of A/B tests, a lot of tests that have led to the right number of questions that can be asked on a digital journey, right?
yeah.
So I think that's also one way to think about it. The other thing I wanted to ask, I think Vidit also pointed out, did you factor in bureau, right? Did you see any credit score being fetched in your journey?
So that is the initial part. Like I've not made separate screens for that, but if you see the
Okay.
homepage, there is a section
Okay.
which says, that's where I said like typically now they say you get your credit score, but I
Mm.
also feel like an alternate in the future could be through UPI, where they
Mm.
see your UPI transactions. I know that's not like there's no infra for that right now, but in the future. Yeah.
Okay. Understood. Understood. Do you have any
No, I
follow-up
think you
questions?
asked the same question.
Huh? No? Perfect. I think one thing that we liked, a small detail that we would like to point out is that the compare feature is a good idea, right? The person should know the transactions that they're getting.
Mhm.
RBI is more than happy that the customer should know every single detail, right?
Mhm.
And you mentioned somewhere that they got a large amount of money, so you're asking them to pay early. So
Yeah.
that was also mentioned somewhere.
Yeah, so that's again futuristic, obviously. But I feel like if we think in that direction, then we'll be before any other player to actually
Hmm.
implement those things
Okay.
versus like being at the end. So,
No,
That's a good.
perfect. Well, thanks for taking
Thank
out the time, Gayatri.
yeah,
Thanks
thank
for
you so much.
participating. Right.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Gayathri.
Thank you so much.
I think we'll have next person from the picker wheel.
Prabhat.
Yes.
Prabhat, can you please raise your hand? Hi, Prabhat. Can you please turn on your video?
Yeah, I hope you can see the screen. Oh,
Yes.
sorry, my video. Yeah. So while I'm presenting the screen, I'm just quickly want to introduce myself. I'm Prabhat. I'm working as an APM in MeHoop, and I have about 2 years of experience. Yeah.
Hi, Prabhat.
Yeah. So can you see the screen?
Yes, the screen is visible. We can start.
So here is the application. I tried to replicate as the current Tide UI in the app. So here it is. So I'm just gonna start here. So this is the first feature, the language change option. Many of the Indians, right, don't know how English, right? Try to search it. The primary language of the Tide app right now is English only. I don't think it supports multiple languages. So I just made it a feature. I even described one of my personas is not able to understand English. So this is one of the feature I introduced. And here, as you can see, a big banner, right, with the tag new, and just tells and that there's something new in the app. So and here there would be a red symbol. Actually, I opened it multiple times, so you can't see the red option, red dot. So these two symbolizes there is something new in the app, right? It improves click-through rate. So user will just immediately go to the section. So again, here is the section. Immediately you can see the stepper UX. So you're prompting the user, right? With the user should not get confused. It's no fooling, right? So there are only 4 steps, simple 4 steps. You get you from the loan type to and complete application. You have just 4 types. You have additional cards, 60 seconds eligibility check, 100% online process, and low interest rates. And if you see here down, frequently asked questions, these all sections in this page builds trust. So user, so if you see other apps in the market, right, they have huge forms and take a lot of time. I just saw some YouTube walkthroughs of Paisa Bazaar and Bank Bazaar. It just took 10 minutes just to explain entire eligibility check. So it was a waste of time, right? And the YouTube walkthrough, the person who's explaining couldn't get the loan. He's not eligible. So he got just wasted 10 minutes of time, and I also wasted my 10 minutes of time. I couldn't see what is after. So I just made it quick. So let's check what is there. So if you see here, you're just asking the business loan here, or what type of loan you're looking for. So this I'm selected. It's just personalization. What kind of loan is the user looking here? So here is the eligibility form. So here is some pre-filled details. I just fetched this from Tide's onboarding process. You are submitting few details, right, when you're onboarding the Tide. So I just fetched few details, and you just select this, and if entire form is options, you just have to select it will hardly take you 60 seconds, as I'm saying. So here it is, I'm randomly selecting some options here. So after this, you're gonna just straight on, no fooling or something. You just go see through the loan offer. So here you are displayed a big, what amount you're eligible, and you're just gonna select the loan amount and tenure, right? So you're just gonna view the lenders here. So the entire eligibility form is zero effort. You're just selecting few options here. So that is how I made. And here you just listed some lenders here. So user might get confused. Oh, so many lenders are being displayed. How do I, pick the best one? So I will use the compare feature where I'll just compare a couple of loans here. So then if I just compare 3 options, so here it's a view. You can always toggle between 2 views here, table view or card view. So it's gonna tell you this is the best value, right? So user will just select this and move on. This feature is purely empowering the decision making of the user. So again, here we are displaying some couple of things about the lender, the charges and stuff, and KYC documents, everything. So there is no hiding and all. So everything we are displaying. So I just press agree and continue. Here you fill the bank details, right? So a couple of bank details I'm going to fill, for example, here, just random details. So here is some next page, where you have to upload documents, right? So if you see here, some apps like Paisa Bazaar and other apps, they prompt users when they click, they open the loan application in the web pages. So it's difficult for the user, right? So if he has to look the document in the, if he has or not, he has to close the app. By mistake, if he close the entire app, he might lose the progress, right? So I implemented a section where user can always progress saver. User can always resume his progress wherever he stopped. And as per Navi,
Prabhat, 2 minutes to go.
I also did some research on Navi where they partnered with account aggregators. Users might also not give immediate permission for bank statements, right? So it's just a simple process where you upload documents and finish the registration. So here it is the screen that your loan application is being processed. So after getting approved, you will have a simple card and simple EMI structure. You can always take an extra loan from here. Here I kept because of the retention that I am solving here. It was mentioned in the problem statement that users also need to take another loan retention. So I just immediately kept here. You always have some extra options called download statement, everything. So this is how I did. So I'm gonna show the deck too. So here are some competitor analysis I did. So my entire journey is based on some competitor analysis I did, and the opportunities I identified from them. If you see here, one more point I missed to explain here. So if you see the moment the user clicks on eligibility, right, check eligibility, I haven't displayed any CIBIL score page or whatever it is. So as I saw in some apps in the market like Paisa Bazaar and Bank Bazaar, they heavily advertise themselves as a free credit score checker, right? So I just don't want to try to advertise themselves as a free credit score. I just removed it and I kept it in the backend or background. So this is what it is. I hope I rushed a little bit, but I hope I made a little bit sense.
Thanks, Prabhat.
Hi, Prabhat. Hi.
Yeah.
So I think nice of you to walk us through very quickly. We like the competitor analysis that you also did. I have a couple of questions, and with it, you also want to move. See, a couple of things that I wanted to move towards is, see, there's an integration that you picked up where you said that the Tide onboarding info gets
Right.
pre-filled in the loan process.
Yes.
Right? So that's one approach that you were taking for the product type that we were talking about.
Yes.
Right. Post that, I feel, and with it, please second me here if you feel like that the UI became more cluttered, and then you went more into a loan product funnel suggestion. Right. There was an approach that you were following, which was more like the entire ecosystem was going to be captured. A customer is coming into Tide, they're doing something. It's not just loans, it's also the other products, it's also the other offerings, right? And then you were guiding them there. I think post that, what was the approach that, how was that thought process taken? Like, which competitor did you think was missing that point? Apart from that, when you in the end also said that you didn't want to take the Sibyl approach, right?
Yes.
Right. Sibyl is a very big entry point and a very big incentive for any customer who wants to,
Yes.
access credit in India, especially.
And
right?
on that note, not just as an entry point, but you can also utilize credit information for a whole lot of things as a product individual, as a risk individual, or I mean, just like the pre-filling from Tide, right? That's good for the existing customers. You could also use Sibyl to pre-fill the information. So as a good entry point, like Siddhant mentioned, you also get a whole lot of information from the customers. So just doing a cost benefit analysis on that, okay, what kind of I mean, I do want to understand from your opinion, what is the exact drawback to using Sibyl as a entry point?
And also circle back to the UI approach. After
Yes.
that, right? And
So-
if you could share your deck quickly with that part.
Oh, I'm gonna answer the Sibyl question, but I didn't get the UI part. What you're trying to say? Can you just tell me?
What was the thought process behind taking the UI, right? Which
Yes.
competitor did you analyze? Okay.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
how did you choose the next steps? What was the wireframing? How did you do the analysis of that?
Yeah.
So we should
Got
just
it.
talk about that.
So I'm going to answer the Sibyl question first. So as I'm saying, I just don't want Tide to advertise themselves as a pre-credit score or a Sibyl score checker, right? So the problem is here. Recently, I have applied for a credit card in Swiggy. So I just entered my PAN details there, right? So I haven't entered anything. So it automatically prompted that I'm eligible or not. So I did the same here. It didn't show me anything about Sibyl score, right? So I just here also I applied the same thing, that you're not gonna show anything about Sibyl or credit score here. You just user just want to focus on purely the form and just one click. He just want to see whether he's eligible or not. So this is my thought process about the Sibyl question. And the UX UI, I just thought of I analyzed a few competitors like my Money Mantra and Lending Card, right? And I have seen your form as well. If you type Tide loans into the Google, it just prompted me a web page where you have a form, right? So it's not in the website. I don't know for what reason. I think you're just entering into that. Maybe that's why. So I just kept the form. Next process would be selection and all, like a simple flow. This is how I thought. So mainly, I focused on the eligibility check form. If you can see here, and you also have mentioned the word cluttered here. I'm not sure what do you mean by that. So can you just explain that a bit?
Can you, Abhay, he has access to share his screen, right?
Yeah.
Can you quickly share your screen again, Prabhat?
Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna go to the meetup again. Wait a second. I'm just gonna share the entire screen.
No, I think we are fine with just you sharing Figma.
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
in the interest of time, how much time do we have left here, Nakshi?
I think we can take 1 or 2 minutes max.
Please.
Just go back. Before this step.
Oh, here, homepage.
Yeah, homepage. Right?
Yeah.
What's the next step that you mentioned in the journey?
So it's a big banner, right? It shows that
Yes.
there's a new section in the app. So ideally, there should be a red dot here. I opened it already, right? So the red dot disappeared. So I'm just gonna go through the loans, right? So here is the page where you show the steps, number of steps, stepper UX, and some cards and FAQ. So this entire page was made in the mind for trusting. The user needs to trust. So no more extra steps, and eligibility in 60 seconds, 100% online, and some FAQ questions so that user might always check that what is this.
Can you go back to just the check my loan offer? Can you just click on check my loan offer?
Yeah. So personalization here, you just select the loan you're looking for and just press enter. Here is the pre-filled details.
So the idea here was, if we draw a point A to point B kind of journey, right? There will be product type, loan product type, right?
Yes.
Prior to this should be a little earlier, right? And the amount of information mentioned on the screen, right?
Okay.
If we are talking about obviously adding trust to the to the customer, and we are talking about having them very clearly understand what the process is going to be, step by step, they should know where they're headed, what they're required to submit, and so on and so forth, right? So when I was talking about it being cluttered, I was talking about how much information do we want to feed them on each screen, each step. That's why I was talking about the UI being a little bit cluttered, right? So that's why I wanted you to quickly understand that with your screen. But anyways, nonetheless, thank you for submitting, right? And thank you for participating, Prabhat. We did like a couple of things, in the deck. One of them, I think, for me to note out was how you were suggesting a best product for the customer, right? When you could toggle and compare, you have a very clear tabular format where the customer can consume the information, understand the decision they're about to take, and as soon as they toggle back to the other view, they have a product that you suggested, right? So that was a good positive for us, I think. Vidit, if you want to add.
And I think the competitor analysis in particular, I think of all of the decks we were looking, I mean, that was very well done. To be honest, I'm quite curious about your source of information, though, because it was quite in-depth in terms of the journey drop-offs and the funnel drop-offs. So I'm not sure where you got access to that kind of information or how reliable it may be.
I just did a couple of research from YouTube walkthroughs and just chat GPT, deep research and all. Using some tools, I just extracted them.
I mean, I know we are running out of time, but just out of quite an interest on that note, where you mentioned account aggregator and Navi, I noticed all of the numbers that you had mentioned for Navi, it turned out to be the best journey, right? Minimal drop-offs in every
yes.
And the fact that Navi uses the account aggregator as well, where you mentioned, okay, you decided not to use account aggregator. Your bank statement uploads, I've noticed there is a 60% drop, right? Anytime there's a bank statement upload happening in terms of a purely digital journey, you lose out 60% of your customers who don't even upload. So how do you come to the conclusion that account aggregator is not something to be utilized in favor of bank statements?
No, account aggregator can be used, but recently a lot of people are complaining in LinkedIn why Navi is using this kind of technology. I think it should be restricted. Account aggregator is a government service, I believe, but it's taking an entire a history of 7 years, 5 years, or something like that. I'm not saying it's wrong. Account aggregator is wrong. So maybe you just tell them it's safe, and extra statements prompting on the screen that it's safe. We delete it once we analyze it, something like that. So yeah, account aggregator can be a way. We as a Tide also can integrate and approach the same. But yeah, I didn't do it here, but I'm not sure like I wanted to include it or not, so I didn't include it here.
No, understood. I think Prabhat, fully understood. Thanks for
thank you so much.
Thanks for participating.
Thanks, Prabhat.
We have Sanjoli and Ankit next. Sanjoli and Ankit, can you please raise your hands? Hi Sanjoli, can you please turn on your video?
Hello. Hi, am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah. Hi, good afternoon, everyone.
Hi, Sanjoli.
So a
Good
quick
afternoon.
introduction. So myself Sanjoli, and I have overall 4 years of experience and 2 years in product. So I'm an early PM at SmartSense, and I will straight go to the prototype and present.
Sanjoli, Ankit is not joining, correct?
Yeah. So my teammate Ankit has got some emergency today, so he's not available.
It's okay. You can proceed. Please proceed.
Okay. Okay. So basically, first of all, I would like to clarify, like my approach for approaching this problem statement for to enhance the user experience for entire launch journey and to minimize friction. So I only kept the few points in mind to reduce the drop-off rates and to also increase the engagement of the user. And since I also noticed and did research, scroll through the Instagram of Tide, what Tide is doing, and also the Tide UK business sites, everything I browsed. So I noticed that they are focusing more. There is a special focus on this women-led businesses to support women entrepreneurs. So that's why I thought like this would be good to highlight on landing page. And also, since many of the participants have made mobile app view, but I focus on web app because I noticed that Tide is already implementing a web. That there is already a form there, although I could not proceed ahead to check the other next flow, but the first step that I could get is there is a loan marketplace view on the landing page. So that's why I focus on web app view here. And so I hope my screen is visible now.
Yes,
Is it
visible.
okay? Sure. So this is the homepage that I designed. So the approach that I made is like I wanted to make a very short journey, very minimalistic journey, and where Tide is convincing and having a compelling narrative, doing all the story telling through the homepage, also convincing women to take loans. So this is the hero section. And it is clearly dictating the value proposition what Tide offers. And this is the second section. So basically I observed many landing pages of various competitors like IFL Finance and Lending Card and others. They had this timeline view to educate and instruct the users that this is how the simple steps of taking the loan is, and this is the entire homepage. So here the user can see the other loan products as well, or whatever Tide would implement next. So I have focused the journey of business loans here, and they can. So this is why I choose Tide business loans. So this is the section same also on the international website of Tide. And basically this is also a section that I kept basically being more creative here, where Tide in future can also have this program or a community of women entrepreneurs supporting women for taking loans. And there's some metrics that I showcase, success stories as well. And basically I also noticed and watched YouTube videos, and also did a perplexity research as well, where I understood that there is always a complex and long lengthy applications, and people do not know the first time borrowers. I also made one persona where first time borrowers very have lack of financial literacy, and that's why even I myself was not aware about these documents, like what it takes to take a business loan. So even a first time entrepreneur would struggle to understand this. So I made this UI to educate themselves that what beforehand only they can understand what other documents are required, so that there is less drop off rates and more engagement with the landing page, so that they can instantly check their eligibility. And this is loan calculator as well, like this is kind of tool, business tool. They can just check the numbers as well beforehand, that this is interested. Basically they can make an informed decision beforehand itself. And these are some FAQs. So I'll showcase the next step here. The user will land on to the selection of the loan category. Like there can be other loan types as well. So since I have made this flow keeping in mind that the Tide operates in a marketplace model, so if we select the business loan, like let's say the user is selecting this one, so the user will enter the type of what kind of business they have. So very minimal, and like the basic business check inputs will be there from here. And they can just, from this they can enter the loan amount required. So a message will appear, congratulations, you are eligible. They will accept the terms and conditions, and they will proceed to the credit score check. So here the integration with credit bureau is there, where it actually enables trust with the user, where it's visible in the UI that they are authorizing and they are giving the access to their credit report, and hence they can get the score here. Once the score is visible, they can get the list of options, loan offers. And so basically the logos are not visible here though, because the UI is basic simple, because I assume that the Tide is implementing this for the very first time, so I kept the minimal features. Although there are filters as well, but initially filters should not be implemented. I feel just a basic recommendation of various loan offers can be presented in UI with the visibility of the interest rate. So just also I thought like a user should also be knowing the different flexible repayment options and the features uh, inside the different loan offers. There can be comparison feature, as also Prabhat had this also in the mobile app view. So they can compare either with table view or the or this listing view. So once they select the offer, flexible repayment schedule can be visible here. And once they can also check the repayment view. So this is just very being very transparent for the user, all the data, which is very easy to understand. Then then the application process moves ahead, where the business will enter the business name, business address, GST and all, industry. So let me select first. And yeah, so like I'm not selecting here, just moving ahead. Here owner details, business owner details, and I have integrated DigiLocker because basically there's a more drop of rates when people have to put in an Aadhaar card, PAN card. And
इन्होंने पता है आपने कंडेंस मिल्क टू खोया वो वाला चेंज बताया था क्या?
हाँ वो सब हमने ग्रुप में ही तो बताया।
खुद चेंज किया।
Nakshi, can you unmute
सब
yourself?
ग्रुप पे आपने डाला हुआ है।
Nakshi, can you just
हुआ नहीं है तो इसलिए आप
Sorry. Yeah. So here, DigiLocker, they can verify the OTP, and then moving next, they can upload the required documentation for the loan. And once they submit the application, this progress bar will get completed, and they can see the progress and status will appear. So although this status will appear after 2 to 3 businesses, whenever the backend team will approve the loan. And once they proceed to disbursement, they can see in the dashboard here, or can download the agreement here, the PDF file, and the details, the loan terms, repayment schedule, and they can view the loan dashboard as well. So although this is very extra post disbursement, this is just extra features, but this can be scoped out for now maybe, and can have less features here. And this is here how they can see the flexible repayment schedule, because I understood that users generally have this pain point where they are not able to understand the flexible repayment schedules, or they have to apply for a new loan, or or and when they have to pay EMI, what are the schedule, and the notification reminders also plays an important role, where the email should come in their inbox. so that they are well informed how much loan is.
Sanjoli, time is up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there much left? Or
Yeah, so I can, I can. I had some more inputs as well
Let's
from
just
my
give her a
end.
minute. Nakshi, let's just give her a minute to
Yeah,
finish.
yeah. I mean,
yeah, yes.
you can take 1 moment. That's fine.
Yeah, basically, because I also was checking what are the other UI UX approaches. I used an AI approach as well, because I used
Your screen
ChatGPT
is not
and
visible in case
okay,
you're sharing.
1 second. So I was also drawing inspiration from Dribble and other platforms as well. As you can see here, I was checking the other UI approach that could also be visible like this, like how it is being shown here, and this as well. So, so basically, I have made this in very short time using Lovable and leveraging AI tools and giving the inputs and including all the market research data reports and user insights. So, but I feel if given more time, this UI can further be improved as well. And since UX in UX terms also, I feel that there is a key role in having a good customer support as well. I have seen like while also going through the Instagram pages, I've seen some customers or some users were complaining about customer support teams not responding to them. So that also plays a key role in maintaining and building a key trust in the brand, because since it's not a traditional bank, and that's why I feel it's important to prioritize the experience of the user. Yeah, that's about me. That it.
Thanks, Anjoli. You can stop your screen presentation, I think, now.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Over to Siddhant with you.
Hey Sanjoli, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. How about you?
I'll just start off here mostly. I think one quick thing, as in the I think you were mentioning the UI quite often and comparing it to Tide. I mean, so I saw the entire UI. Is this something that you thought was just about right, or was there something that you would have? I mean, in terms of actually building the product, would you have changed something?
Uh,
In terms of UI, not at all UX.
okay. I think it's good. As I said, like the other approaches, when I showcased the last two screens from Dribble, when done a lot of good other UI screen inspiration and research. I think yes, if there is a vertical listing, I could have made it horizontally aligned as well. That could also be one another approach.
Understood. Please go. Louder.
Okay. So see, I think what I want to quickly understand is, and this is purely from a perspective of, again, how you approached it, right? I think if you're saying you had a smaller window of time, what was the approach with the competitors, the ones that you focused on? And then how did you go about designing the solution, right? When we are talking about, so I think you very clearly were mentioning women entrepreneurs and you not being informed about the right kind of documents and so on. So awareness,
Yeah.
education, all of these parts you were talking about, right? So I want to understand where in your research did that happen, right? From where you started picking this thought up, where you started, designing the solution in that manner and focused on those traits. So maybe if you could help us with that.
So basically, I watch a lot. I watch Shark Tank as well, where there are aunties, right, women entrepreneurs. So I'm also focusing on that persona, because they are not aware. In tier 2, tier 3 cities, if Tide is focusing in those cities, why not to also include and give a image on the landing page and educate themselves, because there is always lack of financial literacy as well. So there should be educational programs, training programs, although government has implemented a lot of things there as well. But if Tide can partnership with some or where these schemes are implemented, or where these tradings are happening, they can also take some initiatives that they can hit some another user segment like this, and see, because such aunties kind of persona are also coming on Shark Tank. So if they are doing business, it means like they can also have an opportunity to take it from Tide, because Tide is focusing on such women.
Okay. And can you touch on the competitors where you were? So Shark Tank is one where you got the inspiration that the audience and the persona exists, right?
Yeah.
Which is very good. Inclusion. We want to be
Yes,
included, and
inclusive
we want to
lending
absolutely make sure we want to make sure that people who are growing, people from tier 2, tier 3, aunties for that matter of fact, right?
Yeah.
Very, very happy to understand that. But where, again, pointing to the where in your journey did you start picking? So that's the genesis of the inspiration. Yahi thi ki, Shark Tank, you saw a couple of female teams from tier 2, tier 3 doing really well, and
Yep.
now if they have access to good credit, they can grow their business, so on and so forth. After that, then when you hit the drawing board, what were the observations? Which competitors? What was the thought process in designing that?
So I have seen there are a lot of blogs on My Bill Book as well, because they have accounting and invoicing software. So with this embedded finance innovation happening in this digital lending space, they are also educating a lot of people. IFL Finance have their blogs as well. I've seen in My Bill Book as well. Lending Cart also have their blogs specifying that we are providing loans for women. So from that, I took this idea.
Okay. And see, one part is having a very clear representation and inclusion, right? One part is also, as a PM, realizing what is the TAM, right? The total addressable market. Since
Yeah.
you've already mentioned Shark Tank, right? You must have noticed the kind of questions that come from the other side of the table, right?
Yeah.
So as a PM, when we are thinking of how do we get the product distributed to the right audience and to a sizable audience, right? So do you think focusing on just women is that the approach that you were going for, or you just wanted to highlight that okay, these people should also be available and have access to credit, so on and so forth? Because I feel like if you had to do a quick Google search on every 100 loans disbursed in India, right? What is the distribution? What is
Yeah.
the application cycle? What kind of people are to move? So that's my point. Where did uh, was this just about getting the piece of let's get women to have access to credit, or was it just a pure market play?
I think as you talked about distribution data, we have as a product manager, I have to definitely prioritize in terms of data as well, the reports and the Statista reports as well. I believe, I'm not sure about the data, but I believe it's less for women for now, but still it's a bar as well. Uh, so basically, the homepage I focus not only for women, since there is a dedicated section, or only just telling the story that Tide also supports women, but it is also focusing on men as well,
I think just
because
adding
it's
on to that,
inclusive.
I mean, absolutely correct there. But from a purely business perspective, I would say that that approach would work a lot better as an entry point in terms of marketing rather than a focus towards product. And I mean, it's a great objective there, and even in terms of business, it's like very fruitful.
Yes.
But it should be a lot more focused towards marketing. And once you have the customers there, then the focus should be an all-inclusive good journey. And I think there you have a very good customer focus approach as well. I think I noted how all of the repayment schedules that you showed even before selecting the offer, and the credit report options that you also showed, where as soon as the customer authorizes it, you just give them like a good the graph
Yeah.
thing where it's like, okay, you have a good credit score and you don't. So it's fairly informational, which is very nice. I do think in terms of the customer focus approach, you ended up lacking somewhere in terms of process efficiency. I did not see any sort of inclusion as to how the product journey could be a lot more efficient, or there could be a significant reduction in the drop-offs. As in, there were no, lack of awareness towards the industry or the kind of services that might be available in terms of integrations or how to utilize them, whether it's the API integration with Civil, how you can utilize that kind of information, or how you could have partnered with other organizations as well, just to improve the overall journey or the efficiency. I mean, you can certainly make it a customer-focused approach, but that in some way might penalize your overall throughput. So I think that can be focused somewhere. However, it was certainly a good approach there, but I think you missed out on the other half of it. You got the heads part and you missed out on the tails a little bit.
Yeah.
But yes. And one more thing there, the filters part that you mentioned, that you mentioned it's not really required. Although you have focused on how people are really learning and developing, and they like choosing their options and so on. Don't you think in terms of filters, those people would want to select, okay, where is the ROI lesser or the amounts higher or the EMI, as per their convenience, rather than just skipping out on that?
Yeah, I think I mistakenly said that. So if filters is necessary, I meant to say that when there was comparison feature, right, selecting two and viewing them side by side, that is next that can be put in backlog. That is the feature that can be deprioritized. But the filters is necessary, yeah, because low MI or the low interest, that is.
No, fair. I do think I really liked the customer focused approach there. I think that was something different that seemed as opposed to any of the other solutions there. So I think that's good. I think that's it on my end.
I think for me too.
Thank you.
Thanks for participating, Sanjoli.
Thank you so much.
And let's get the next guys.
Yeah, Muhammad and Pasha. Please raise your hands, guys.
Hi everyone. Hello, am I audible?
Yes.
Hello, hi.
Right, yes. You can start presenting.
Yeah. Let me share my screen.
So hi everyone. Before we dive into the website design, I wanted to take you through the pain points that we observed while doing the customer persona journey mapping. So we identified 4 major pain points around which our design principles were made, and that were the guiding principles all along. The first pain point was very clear. It's a cluttered landing page. With the present competitors that we have, there's a lot of loan jargon and a lot of options that confuse the user, which discourages them to navigate further. So the solution here is to have a very clear visual hierarchy, one primary CTA at one section of the page, and optimize the white space of the website, which we have done pretty well. The second pain point was long and lengthy repetitive forms. I observed in major competitors as well in Paisa Bazaar, in Bank Bazaar, that the same information was been asked multiple times. So to reduce that, to reduce fatigue and drop-offs, we propose a logical clustering of information, making the section of information very progressive, showing the progress bar on the top so that the person can know how much information is being taken from him, and autofill and smart defaults so that the data can be populated, which have already been asked for. The next pain point was around eligibility criteria, which was not very clear for a lot of people. So when I was doing my research, my eligibility score was good enough, but then for someone who has a low score, like freelancers who do not have steady income, they may have a low score. And with the jargon that we are using on the website, on the reports, it may be discouraging for them to proceed for the loan further, even though in reality, various lending partners have very diverse and flexible lending criteria. So the solution for this is to, upfront write what is the minimum requirement for eligibility, and have clear, very friendly jargon for them to proceed further. And the last pain point is around which we have tried to design our website. It is showing the application tracking journey in real time and showing the disbursement status, because this is where a lot of competitors are lacking right now. When I signed up for Paisa Bazaar and Bank Bazaar, I still am getting their WhatsApp notification saying that your process is under review. I got a call from Paisa Bazaar saying that we need some more information, and the person herself dropped off saying I'll call you back in 10 minutes and never called. So this is how this may be happening in the competitor landscape, and this is where we have the opportunity to swoop in. So and showing a checklist of all the documents right up front in the application tracking page helps them to be prepared to keep the data handy. And addressing trust issues, we can right up front show what the hidden fees or all the fees that may be incurred during the application journey, instead of showing them later in the stage, which will lose trust of the customer. So a couple of observations we made in the approach that the competitors are using right now. First is major competitors like Paisa Bazaar or Money Mantri. Money Mantri specifically shows all the lending pages, lenders first. They show their criteria first, and someone like Paisa Bazaar are asking for the KYC details first and then taking them to the lending page. So this is something where we struck a chord, and we thought in the latter approach there is even though they are asking for information, there is high chances of capturing that lead, as opposed to the first approach where they can just see the criteria and just leave the website without even giving their information. In the second approach, we have an opportunity to call them back and understand their requirements, right? So this is the second approach that we observed. And another observation that we had was Paisa Bazaar was then after filling the application form, they were taking to check the application status, it is redirecting to the lender's page, their individual domains, so which was where high drop-off rates may happen, which is what we have tried to address by building the application page showing the real-time status from those lenders on a tied application itself. So Rizwan will be taking you to the website design.
Yeah, thanks, Natasha. I hope you can see the website screen. Let me start with the landing page first. First of all, we have highlighted the business loan first, the key product we are trying to provide, and clear messaging for clear and crisp messaging for the loan. Cost has free business loan, and clear CTA where they can click without any confusion. Very minimal design. So below that, we can sort of list the other products of Tide, like the business account, expense card, etc. And below that, we can include a free credit score option as well. So this is how we designed the landing page. So going into the loan application, we have sort of categorized this, logically grouped this loan into different groups. Like first,
2
we
minutes to go, guys.
Sorry.
2 minutes to go.
Yeah, thanks. So we have logically grouped into different sections like personal details, loan details, and business details. Throughout the form, we have included placeholders for easy, avoiding any confusion among applicants, and added drop-down options for easy selection as well. And once the user enters the personal details, it sort of goes to the loan amount and purpose details. Once the user selects the loan amount details, they proceed into the business information. And once all of the details are completed, and it goes into the lenders comparison page, where we have designed in a way that applicants will be able to easily compare the different lenders and choose the best lender according to them. So we have showcased the key information like interest, tenure, fee, so they can easily compare. So once they choose a lender, it goes into the application form for lender. This will be an auto-populated section from the previous section, data collected from the previous sections. And once this is ended, it will ask a loan amount and loan tenure. For deciding the loan amount and loan tenure, we have included a loan calculator here. The user can input the loan amount and see the monthly payment to make a decision for that. So once the user clicks the confirm button, this will be the end of the application flow once the application is submitted. And the next step would be to track the application. We have included this feature to improve transparency throughout the process here. Once the user enters this reference number to the application tracker, we will clearly show the application status, pending or interview or approved. In the pending state, we will ask the applicant to upload any documents like other proof, bank statements, business registration, or PAN card. Once it's uploaded, it goes into the interview mode. And once it's approved, we can show the application status here like approved. And at this stage, we can proceed with asking the account details. So it would only make sense to ask the bank account details at this stage. So once the applicant enters these account details, this will be collected, and we can show the disbursement status here. So this is
This
the
one,
overall flow.
time is up. If you could wrap up quickly.
Yeah. So this would be the overall flow here. With this flow, we have kind of addressed these key points like user-centric landing page, very minimal process, and streamlined loan application process, and smart lender comparison section for choosing the lender, and efficient application submission and tracking system for improving transparency throughout the process. Yeah, that's it from our side. Thank you.
Hey, hi Bipasha, hi Rizwan.
Hi.
Hi guys.
I think you had a lot more to say, guys, in the interest of time, but good that we've given thought here. We've already gone through it. A couple of observations, right? And I think what I've liked is that there is a minimalism to your approach, right? Which was a guide through the funnel. And like everybody, I think what we've noticed is trying to do a linear approach, right? From lead to dispersal to get people there. Now, the thing is, quick questions, right? When we are building and when we are adding those personas, and right, when you were in the initial process talking, Vipasha, how competitors are aggressive, but there are process inefficiencies, right? There are drop-offs. How are we managing for that? Because I think in your journey, what I saw, that there was still scope for an assisted, funnel re-entry, right? Because every time there is a drop-off in your funnel, it leaves room for interpretation, right? What we saw. So I think you guys have to walk us through. You applied in PB, you applied in a couple of other, competitors. What was the process and how did you make those assumptions? What kind of process inefficiencies you've already talked about? Let's not circle back. We have very less amount of time. So talk me through how are you designing? What were the, the exact thought processes in, okay, a person needs a loan, and from the time till money in their account, whatever be the loan type product, right? Whether it be personal loan against property, business loan, so on and so forth. You guys have taken business loan. So talk me through that.
Yeah, so first would be the discovery part itself, wherein a person, when he lands on the page, I think if you're trying to promote business loans, it should be right on top of the page with clear marketing. We try to show it in the form of a carousel, and other products would not be in the sideline, but business loan would be highlighted as such. And with that, it will directly be taken to the application page, like I highlighted, like we could not do a lot of UI changes with the limited time that we had, but we would suggest that a lot of information can be given right away, right? Like the kind of use cases that it can come for. A lot of people may be looking for loans for a particular thing, but then by reading the documentation, they can know, okay, I can take a loan for another thing also. And it promotes repeat usage. For now, I may be taking a loan of 5 lakhs thinking I'll need it for the next 3 months, but then I'll have the trust because I've seen it in your documentation and words that it also promotes such use cases, and I can come back for that. So such documentation and marketing jargons can be included on the landing page of business loan before one can select. Now, when I have the clarity of why I want to select a business loan, I have my business details, my turnover, which may be a bracket thing. I should not feel like, okay, if I don't have profitability or I don't have a business plan as of now, I should not be discouraged, right? So it should take you, it should immediately ask for the most basic details, and then when you've completed the application, it should show all the landing pages. You can compare and right away see what all charges may be included. You can calculate your loan there, your EMI there, and then you can maybe we can also add the lending page, lending partners full information, how they lend and what is the scalable size that they have to build trust on the lender itself, right? And then after it has been done, that's when the real job starts, and that is when the competition is inefficient at the moment. I honestly felt that this can be an offline job. This has to be built through processes, and website may be one, UI may be one way, but again, it's the human behind it, it's the human resource behind it that is driving all those drop-offs. You can send WhatsApp notifications saying at any point if you dropped off, nudging them back to complete that journey. You can keep sending them updates, but then again, if the verification calls are not happening at this on time, the UI may not be of a lot of use. So yeah, both
Just to
online
hold you
and
up,
offline process have to be aligned.
in the interest
Right.
of time.
Yeah.
So I do, to a certain extent agree with your points, but I think the focus here should be that this is a digital lending process. That means to minimize physical involvement as much as we can. The human intervention should result in uh, a negligible approach. And as Siddhant mentioned, just like the fact that there was spaces for that human interventions to be involved, you can either fill that with the human involvement, or you can ensure that the UI and your user experience takes care of those drop-offs. How do you do that? Right? There are an n number of services available in the market. There are n number of products available in the market that you can utilize to reduce those drop-offs. I think the approach that you are taking, and I think Siddhant might agree with me on this, is more of a sales approach rather than a product-oriented approach in itself. Because these problem statements that you mentioned and potentially put it on maybe another team, which is a sales team, it should be on the product team. It should be, I think, that 99% of those issues should be, or in your head, 100% of those issues should be taken care of by the product team, and not a single call should be gone to a customer. And from there on, if you're only able to achieve 90% of it, yes, whatever remains should go on to the sales team. But the approach from the beginning cannot be that, hey, most of the heavy lifting should be done by the sales team, and the product team should, just build the journey, and all of the drop-off should be taken care of. I think that is somewhere where I think I differ from your opinion.
Right.
However, I do think you've done a very good job at researching your market, understanding what's going on, especially the Pesa Bazaar part of things. So I think you have a good understanding of the market, although the product approach seems to be slightly lacking there, in my opinion.
Yeah.
No, it's okay, but more or less, thanks for participating, guys. I think we'll have to move to the next one also. Wish you the best.
Thank you.
Which I
Thank you.
really liked about you guys, which you presented, was the taking into account of the Tide's other businesses, right? So whether it is an expense card and other pieces, right? So Tide is not just a lending kind of a provider. So the way which you have brought in that aspect, I think, so you covered it. You tried to build it something around it, right? But in the end, a lot of, so let's say if I have 500k customers using my expense cards, right, then how can I get it into my digital journey of the lending, right? A lot of things could be covered into those aspects as well, right? So that is one piece you try to touch upon, but that could be really evaluated on.
Right.
Good work, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good work. Thank you.
So next up we have manage. Yes, Manav. Can you raise your hand? Hi, Manav. Can you turn on your video?
Yeah, sure. Hello, hi everyone.
Hi, hi.
All
You
right,
can start
so
with your
let me
type
just,
directly.
yeah.
Yes.
So good evening everyone. Hope you all are having a lovely Saturday. So now before we dive into the prototype, let's quickly understand that why this is needed. So the digital lending industry in India is growing rapidly and it is projected to hit $2.3 billion by 2030. But the process remains painfully fragmented and users have to juggle between different lenders, struggle with unclear eligibility criteria, hidden charges, and face slow approvals. Also, it was observed that users don't take too long to compare and prefer quick approvals over anything along with transparency. So, while designing the user flow, I have kept these concerns in mind and made the journey intuitive, frictionless, and smooth. So, there shall be two flows, and we shall pick each one of them one by one. So, first of all, the landing page. User land here, and the first impression he gets is quick loan delivery in the blink of an eye. The description here tries to empathize with the user by understanding his state of mind along with a CTA in the first fold. And when we scroll down a bit, we can see Tide's USP clearly written in sharp pointers, followed by a concise application process along with a CTA placement to reinforce the action. Next up, there is an EMI calculator to re-engage the users, and below that we have customer testimonials and RBI approved lending partner screenshot. This is put here to gain a sense of trust. So after clicking on apply now, user is not overwhelmed with information but sees a clear product catalog. Here, if we click on business loan, we can see that user can select a loan amount with a gamified experience of sliding bar or type in an amount. Now here he has two options. Either he can sign up manually or he can register via Udyam. Let's start with Udyam for the first time. So after entering the URL number, user can review his information that is fetched automatically to reduce friction. You must have noticed that there was an animated buffer screen in the middle because this stage can take time and we don't want our user to be frustrated. So after confirming, again with a motivational buffer screen, user can see his sybil in big bold font. User will user will see his sybil in big fonts and along with a label such as good in this case. Also, if you see, we have also explained the meaning of sybil score in color coded way so that the understanding is intuitive subconsciously. And with some tips on improving the sybil score, we have also added a label to gain trust. Next up, we can see multiple loan offers and relevant information such as interest rate shown upfront and bigger font for EMI to facilitate comparison. At the top, you can see copy to empathize with users' objective, making us partner in his aim. We have also added an option to edit the loan amount and USPs of each loan, such as fast processing time or lower fees, so that it is easier for user to select loan as per his priority. User can also select the tenure of loan by a drop down menu, and here we have a primary CTA apply now and a secondary CTA view details. Clicking on which, clicking on which user will see a downloadable loan summary and a visual representation of interest charge, followed by eligibility criteria for that loan, documents required, and USP of that loan. Lastly, if a user, so this page provides every information related to loan that is required. Still, if a user had doubts, he or she can connect via call uh, from from the lenders from Tides team. So next up, yeah. So here the user will see three-step process for loan application. On the above, we have created a card that acts as a summary of loan. So user is aware at all times of the loan conditions and a label that reinforces the trust while filling confidential financial information. Here, if you can see, there are three stages that ask for basic details. That ask for details. First one is basic details, which has already pre-filled information. Next up is KYC, and lastly, there is business details, the progress of which is represented by the bar above. So after submitting this information, there will be a blue screen confirming the submission. So this screen is now different from others because it acts as a milestone and informs user that one journey is complete. After clicking on the check status, when the application is approved, user can fill bank details and redirect to set up an e-mandate to get money in his account and pay EMIs thereafter. So here our whole user flow of loan disbursement ends. Lastly, as long as the loan continue, the user will continue to see a dashboard from where he can track when he has to pay EMIs, how much EMIs are left, total amount paid, etc. At the bottom, we have also added a CTA in case the user want to take more loans in the future via Tide to promote user stickiness. Now
Mar,
coming to the
2 minutes
second user,
left.
sure. Now coming to the second user flow, it's almost similar. So this is where the different user flow starts. So here, if the user sign ups manually, he has to fill in his personal detail, very basic personal details, to get an OTP and qualify his intent, which is good for both user as well as Tide as a business. So after OTP, he can enter his business details and check loan eligibility. Submitting this information will lead him to the CIBIL screen, just like earlier, and rest of the flow remains same. So the complete user flow and design has been made in such a way that there are minimal drop-offs and CTs are chosen not to be forceful but intuitive and conversational. So yeah, this was all from my side, and I'm open to any questions that you might have. Thank you.
Great, you finished 1 minute earlier.
I hope that's not a drawback.
Yeah.
No, no, not at all.
Not at all, Manav. I mean, I think it was good. I think it was a good, concise presentation. I think you were able to cover everything quite well. I did like the little things, that you would mention the milestones, the time it was taking to process. I think a lot of people often miss out on that. So I think good job on that, where with the little animations and stuff, just to ensure that it was more customer focused, so that when they're waiting and stuff, they don't drop off. These are often the reasons where we lose out on customers without realizing them. So good job on that.
Sure.
The pre-filling leveraging was also good. However, I think I missed out on where you were pre-filling that information from.
Yeah.
Okay, so at two stages, I was pre-filling the form. Should I screen share or is it fine if I tell?
You can just walk us through.
All right, all right. So
You can
yeah,
just mention your
two
source
stages.
first,
First one,
Tide or Sibyl or whatever.
sorry.
Sorry, you can just mention the source of pre-fill.
Okay, yeah. So first one was when the user enters his URN number, so the business details are automatically fetched. This was the first time, and second one was at the time of loan application. At that time, information like name and PAN number and other related details will be automatically fetched.
Yeah, but they'll be pre-filled from where? Where will you be picking this information from?
So URN number is directly integrated with the Udyam portal, right?
So you are also you're taking both of them from the URN.
Yes, yes, yes.
Understood. And have you also just researched on the kind of cost that may be associated with, or what kind of competitors that are utilizing that kind of service? Because
No,
the
so
URN number,
actually,
I feel like that is something you'll be taking later on in the stage, right? For the beginning of the journey, where you're taking the initial name and details of the customer, do you have that already? I mean, are you already pre-fetching that? Because you would need some of the information from the customer to be able to fill that in.
so I have divided the journey into two parts. So first one is the pre-application part, and second one is post-application part. So I have demanded the URN number in the initial part, and also kept an option if the user do not have URN number, he or she can apply manually. So my thought process behind entering the URN number is that, so first of all, URN number is something that is associated with government, and a lot of business have Udyam registration, especially for MSAP. If I remember the stats correctly, it was somewhere around 4.8 crore registration. So that is why I have given that option ki if you have to get a business loan, there are high chances that you have a URN number, and just in case if you do not have, you
Understood.
can
And you've kept it
also
optional.
yeah.
Fair enough. I think that's a very good approach. I do think you can also look into other services as well, but I think that was a good approach there. And I think you've also managed to ensure that the journey is end to end, where you assume that one of the partners, such as IFL, will be end to end integrated into our journey. So I think that was also good.
Sure.
You managed to ensure that all of the details were covered in that. I think the one thing I definitely found slightly lacking was when at the beginning of the journey, all of the options that were there, I think you showed too many options to a customer in terms of what loans that they can take. I think a lot of them can be subsets of each other. So I think you could reduce those options. I think in terms of product, I think often enough more options result in confusion, which result in drop-offs essentially. Where you're just thinking, hey, should I go for this, that, blah, and you don't want that kind of an impact there. So I think.
And in fact, see, a couple of other things. See, we have to think of Tide as a farm rather than just a singular crop, right?
Yeah,
so that's
yeah,
where
definitely.
the flow was more like, focused on lending and so on and so forth. Could have been integrated a little bit more into, the entire ecosystem. What Vidit has already mentioned is a clear, feedback loop for you. One question I wanted to ask, Manu, when you were designing this journey, what competitors were you checking out? Just quickly, I wanted to.
So one of the competitor that I really liked was FreeOTap, and I also have looked upon Policy Bazaar and UI UX of Grow. Grow is
Okay.
not a direct competitor, but it is a very big name in fintech space. So I have
Yeah,
picked
no,
up
so
the
that's where
candidate.
I think I could see the inspiration from that piece. More or less, I think we're done with the questions. Wish you the
Also,
best.
yeah,
We'll get.
just one thing.
Sorry,
Yeah,
please.
sorry to cut. Yeah, I completely agree with your point that user can have paradox of size, right? But I guess there can be two approaches for this. First one is that obviously we can make subsets of the loan, and I would be able to make that if I have more clarity key what all type of loans Tide has to offer. Second, what I feel key loan is not a impulse purchase, right? It's not a impulse buy, and if I have to get a loan, I'm very clear key I want a loan for a two-wheeler or I want a loan for gold or anything else. So for that matter, I feel that paradox of choice or confusion or drop off in that stage can be overlooked. Yeah, that is just my point of view.
Sure, because see, I think you're coming from that persona, right? In general, discovery also could also lead to that paradox of choice, right? We could talk about like how you spoke that somebody's planned an impulse buy, right? Then there would be people who are also discovering Tide for other use cases, right? Then have to do other products, and then we have to do all the. So that's why I was saying, right? Initially, that was my comment. Think of it as a farm rather than just a singular crop.
All right, all right. Yeah, yeah, completely makes sense.
I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Perfect. Thanks.
Thank you, Manav.
Thank you.
We'll move to the next.
Yes, we have Raja. Hi Raja, please turn on your video.
Yeah, sure. Hi Tim, were you able to hear my words? Hello.
Yes.
Uh,
Yes, your
can you
video is still not.
turn on the video? Yeah, sure.
Yes.
So, hi team. So very good
Hello.
to the Thai team. Siddhant, Anshul and I think Vidit and Abhay and Naxi. Hi. So like, okay. So shall we start?
Yes, yes. Start with your deck.
Yes, sure. Okay, fine. So someone please acknowledge if you're able to see my screen. Present to.
Sure. Yes, your screen is visible.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. So team, like this is a actual flow of the UX I have planned for it. So let me start by the authentication page. So please have a look at the very first thing we're going to get from the user is the authentication. Like, so we'll be getting their full name as per their author and the business legal name. This is two set of elements, and the next element are the business location and the business email address and phone number. So once these things are filled, so this will be forward to the backend. So further it will be forward to the pre-sales team. So hence an account is created. For the business name, I have asked business legal name, so which will be auto verified in the backend. So whether to know it is genuine or not. And for the business location, you can choose the state, Indian state. So this is for two reasons. So the lead will be transferred to the specific team of the state. At the same time, uh, it will be aligned according to the GST. We have this called state GST. So followed by the business email address and phone number for the communication purpose. So in this, I did not ask for Aadhaar number, PAN card as well as the GST registration number, because the customer has to take their card and keep filling it. So let's make them to do it later on. So and I'm just getting the OTP for it. So at the same time, let's not prompt the user to keep on authentication. Let's let them feel free to how to say, let them feel free to explore what are the catalogs we have in our applications. So hence, instead of login, they can freely surf our applications. They can click on the get started to know what are the loan product we are going to provide to them, or they can click on check my eligibility to know like how much they are eligible for the loan to be approved. So let me go to. So this is something very important we have to discuss. Like we have to prompt the user to complete profile. Let me tell you why. Let me. I'm seeing an advertisement called "Get your loan approved in 5 minutes using Tide app." So before getting approved, I cannot expect everything will happen in 5 minutes. I have to install the application. I have to upload all my document, which is a time-consuming thing. Instead, once they are actually logging into as a new user, we have to keep prompting them either by mail, WhatsApp, to upload all their required documents. It's not like compelling them. So the pre-sales team will make a reminder to complete uploading your document either using manually or else using the DigiLocker. So by this way, everything will be ready. So their profile will be ready to verify, validate. So we also can make a deep dive whether we can make a pre-approval loan for them or not. Like how many banks are approaching us. You are eligible for this much. So one of the key, this is how we can able to reduce the time from days or hours to minutes. This is one strategy. Okay, fine. So I have mentioned about the DigiLocker. While how it will works just in a click, they did not have to keep uploading all their documents. So in the same time, what I planned is instead of just making asking them to keep applying loan, their actual loan amount will be given in the form of a tight credit card, because this is a product we already have. They can use various kind of airport lounge access and benefit, and based on the type of a business, we can also give them more and more offers. At that place, we have to place this product as a promotion. Okay, fine. So one of the biggest thing we are supposed to discuss is we have to stop something called unwanted calls we are keep receiving. As a personal loan employee, will cut the call and he will ignore it. But a business employee, once he gets like a disturbed, no, like there's a high chance retention is very retention will be very less, I guess. So what I did is, we can request a phone consultation only in the time we are convenient. We can go inside and pick up a time slot, or else we can schedule a video call. So this is one of the thing I would like to mention. It will be definitely a game changer, because rather than giving a phone call, and I have the you have been pre-approved for such offers, if we give a video call on their own time, so we can make them explain, we can visualize what are they can do, so what are the benefits. So if you register today, I mean, if you apply for a loan today, what is the offer we are going to give you immediately, so everything. So uh, the so-called loan advisors, loan expert can convince the user, convince them to get the loan. So video call is one of the game changer, I would say, definitely. The next one is, okay, so the seller, how to say, the customer gets to what are the please wait a minute. Okay, it is a user journey of like they have been filling the details, what is the business vintage, I have mentioned the business age, they are our product catalog, all these things.
Rather 2 minutes to go.
Yeah, sure. So these are the excellent chances, or moderate as well as the rejection also. So in case if they are rejected, we can give them another chance. They can contact our loan manager to, they can claim, they can make a challenge, because not every business sector in the India does not be, depends upon the credit score, because there is plenty of unorganized sector also. They can pay, they have surplus money, but we can give them a chance, or a pre-sales guy will reach out to them through the WhatsApp automation I have mentioned previously, and make and convince them to get it, apply for the loan. So these are the types of loan I have mentioned. For this, I would like to get into my app. Please have a look. So now please have a look at the user called Raja. He is a prospect. This is a successful customer. So consider me as a prospect. So what the thing is, I have not completed my application process. So it will prompt me to complete all the things, upload my data. So now once I complete it, my loan will get processed. So I have, now it is under review, and followed by, so this is a DigiLocker. They can directly connect their documents, or they can previously would have uploaded the document, and the free time they can apply for the loan in just a click. So this is some of the loan product based on the BNPL I have mentioned. So we are, in the name of giving loan, we are actually giving them the tied loan also. If they are not the actual customer of the tied loan, maybe we can make promotions like no charge for the first year, if for a business customer like that. So the loan is getting approved at finally, and here is the support for a support call. So I will get through it at the later part. So here we can, once the loan is approved, the specific user will have the complete dashboard of how much they have to pay, when they have to pay. For this, I will demonstrate using my application. So this is, now please have a look at this. He is the successful customer. He is the user. I'm logged in as Anshul. Okay, please have a look. He's a successful customer. The previous one will be mapped to the pre-sales person, and this will be mapped towards the an account manager. So they can be reminded when there is a delay in their payment. But we are not going to stop on this. Please wait.
Raja, time's up. If you could wrap up quickly.
Yeah, sure.
No, we'll give him till the end here. I want to see.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. So whenever this US experience, your experience, we are completely focused on this. How the prompt and notification given using the application and the WhatsApp and the Gmail. But there are something beyond. We have to keep approaching the our customers, our prospect as well as the customers. So these are the things I have mentioned. So these are something for example. These are the example, like what we can say. We can give them an offer, your request ID, on-time EMI rewards, all these things. So all these things has to be done based on the business driven decision on the review meeting, a review meeting which happens in every company, weekly business review meeting, like that. Okay, there should be a payment reminder. So suppose the successful customer fails to pay their loan, so we can make some, how to say, 7 days, 3 days, and 1 day reminder. So this is just a sample automation process how we can work on it, and followed by, this is something, just because we are going digital first and being a mobile first, we cannot completely rely on a customer asking for 25 lakhs. So we have to do something thorough check on our side, and we have to check on our back end. What I did is, if the manual approval. So this is complete based on the business team decision, so finance team decision. So for example, if it is about 10 lakhs, let them keep them weighted. So let me show this app. So now please consider, I have asked a loan for 10 lakh, more than 10 lakhs, hence it is under review. If it is below 10 lakhs, there will be no waiting. So I have already uploaded the file previously. There is no waiting. In 30 seconds it will get approved, so I can continue to my account to be dispersed. I can activate the tide card. If I already have, there is no need to, if I already have, there is no need to activate it at all. Okay, please wait. Okay, this is the automation part we have to look. And the tide team, so I have something wonderful to show you, which is nothing that I have introduced something called tide GPT. So which is going to be an AI chat support. So for example, so most of the business people now, like, they will get free time at the late night, midnight, after returning from their actual field. So in the midnight, if you don't have surplus associate to help them in the midnight, means, just for example, I'm telling this, they can this live support will be become inactive. We can make them to click on the ask tide GPT. So I have made an example question there, but still we can try this question on our prototype app. So this is the application. Wait, this is the support app. So this is the schedule video live support. So I'm asking my tide GPT. So the question will be, I'm planning for, okay, what documents do I need to apply for a business loan? Okay, fine. So I got this answer here. So we have to plan, like, at what time we can implement this chat GPT, I mean the tide GPT to work upon, or we can also make decision, let it be work all the time. So that's all my presentation regarding this journey. So two user I have, for example, I have made a two user. One is a prospect who's applying and getting the tide card, who will enjoy the benefits of other tide products also, and someone who is a successful customer. See, the user Anshul have received a loan of 10 lakhs, and he has been, what to say, he has paid 5 months and his account is held. So in my business loan app, I did not go for KYC. What the thing is, we actually aiming for increasing the business loan customer as well as tide customer base also. I mean tide expense card. So what I did is, for tide business card, there will be already an KYC will be applied. So once the customer applies for the business role on the side, when the tide expense card details is merged, then there is a no need for KYC. So this is how I have planned. I did not look for the KYC process. In the KYC process for the tide card, it will be the actual steps, which is already existing product. This is one side, and one more side is, I did not go for the government schemes in depth. The thing is, like, government has plenty of schemes followed by subsidies. So if they got attracted by the subsidies, it is like it's a missing a
Raja,
customer. Yes, please.
We'll go more in depth for that. I
Sure.
think I want to
Okay.
keep the rest of the window for questions.
Yeah, sure.
If you could just stop sharing your screen.
Okay.
So I think I'll start here. I think I think this is one of the best examples of how to think about a farm, right?
Okay.
In terms of the context for the problem statement that was laid out, right?
Okay.
You've gone through, the pain points that the customer is experiencing in that detail.
Yes.
Even if it is getting rejected, you want to get a call back. You want to have all of those things that are done.
Yes.
properly. So Raja, good job there, right? You wanted
Thank
to
you, Siddhant.
emphasize. You won the shoes of the customer. You won the shoes of the company. You have that, uh, thought towards the farm. But a couple of points to again understand when you were
Yeah,
building
please.
this solution, right?
Yes.
And getting this deck. I think I've been asking this question, so you should be ready with the answer. What were the competitors you were focusing on? Second, what personas were you focusing on? Right? Walk me through how you went from lead to dispersal, so on and so forth. And apart from
Okay.
that, then I want to talk about your approach towards the UI also, right? UX, we
Yes.
completely understand the way you talked about it.
Okay.
Let's walk towards the UI also.
Yeah, sure. Like, so I started with the Google search of what are available in the market. Like, the first thing in dominance loans, like I saw something called Phone Pay for business loans, Bajaj Finserv, Tata Capital. This is digital first applications, and banks like SBI, HDFC, IAFL Finance. So what the thing is, like, I explored more and more website. Most of the website asked me phone number. Please give your login details, like that. So I decided the very first point is, so our product going to be a game changer, such that we should address this one. Like, our customers should not be prompted to please give your details. We will give a call, like that. So instead of what I did is, once you refresh my app now, you will prompt to schedule a call or schedule a video call only. So this is the first thing I did. I have gone through many things, like please use our filter. I mean, it is common in most of the thing. Please use our filter to check your eligibility for loan. It is based on the CIBIL score, credit, all these things. But what I felt is, many businesses are unorganized sector. This is which is being the domination. They pay their actual B2B partners in cash only, or they go to ATM, and they are not everyone going to pay their credit card. So what we have to do is, we should have a separate criteria beyond the credit score. But since it is mandatory, let's keep this credit score followed by another opportunity. The customer can challenge, and then they try their loan request. This is one thing. If they, in case if they stop using our app, means let our pre-sales guy jump into it and grab that prospect into a successful customer. This is how I thought. For comparing between other things, in many website, they did not directly mention the other application. I thought is it legal to mention other things in the application or not? So I did not make that part, but instead I made it in the presentation deck. So like that. So everyone is giving the percentages very less, rather than we have to make something in a different PR work. We have to be to attracting them. So for example, if it is a we can how we can say is, we can check the social media. Support is Instagram based business, we can check their Instagram. We can make sure whether their business is actually going good or not. They have a low credit score, okay, let them approve it. The backend team will approve it. So this is how I went. For UI UX, actually I referred more and more YouTube. And what they did is, like, for most of the people in India, when it comes to UI and UX, they talk about IRCTC website only. They commonly they talk about this. So it's complicated something. Animation, what the thing is, like, in everywhere I tried many AI apps, they used a word called minimalist. So minimalist means, what I did is minimalist, only white and black. So tide is blue color, so only white and blue. So I'm not going to go complicate into multiple colors. I decided like that. For rejection, any gray point or red point we have to mention, it will be highlighted in a red color for application approved example. This is how I approach the UI. So rejection, moderate, all these things, followed by, how to say, yeah, this is the. So if you want to, I mean,
No,
can you
it's
please
okay.
more specific question
No, it's
in
okay.
this?
Till here, it's okay.
I think we
Sure.
managed to answer all of my
Do you have
entire
any further?
statement. I don't think I have any further questions.
Yeah, even I don't have any further questions.
Sure.
Good job on structuring it really well. I think Your articulation and your depth has been,
very impressive. Yes.
Very impressive. I think we'll move to the next.
Thank you, team.
Thanks,
Thank you.
thanks, Raja.
Thank you.
Thanks, Raja. Yeah. So we only have, I think, one.
We only
right?
Yes.
Yes.
Francisca and Bohdan, can you please raise your hands?
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, Francisca.
Great. Hi, how are you today? So let's go straight into it. Let me share my screen with audio. Great. So I'm going to start.
Your voice is echoing.
Sorry. Is it still echoing?
No, I think.
So we're going to quickly start with this. And this is a Japanese character. It means tithe. And the idea that we want to say here is actually loans don't have to or shouldn't feel like learning a foreign language. And what we want to do here is simplify. So when people are taking a loan, we want to make it simple. And in our case, our business reason is actually women, specifically women looking for a first-time loan, or they are not yet within the tithe ecosystem, okay? Women in India is actually something that tithe is currently going for. So you want to onboard 500,000 people until 2027. You want to onboard in the tithe ecosystem, meaning one of the ways to do that is going to be through loan offerings. And 1 out of every 2 women does not have access to loans or doesn't know how to access them, which is actually a statistics that you have shown yourself in your report. So basing this as the reason for loan offerings, when a woman is going into, first of all, website or mobile-based solution, she's probably going to have a lot of questions she wants to answer. And one of the things that works is going to be social proof. So for example, when I'm going to come into this, to the website from Tithe, I'm going to see they now are offering a loan calculator, something that already shows how many partners I can have. But what is in it for me as a woman? Probably I'm in a tier 3 to 4 city. I have a lot of questions regarding financial jargon as well. And we make it simple for you. Tithe is all about letting people do their own business or go back to business while they simplify expenses and other solutions. And it should be the same with loans. And at the same time, why should I have to give so much of my personal information from the start when all I want is to check for a loan? The same if I went to a bank or a Kirana association or a small lender, probably on microloans, that just hears my story and then tells me what it probably they can offer me. Why do I have to give my phone number for that? So in this case, we are allowing women to compare loan offers without having to give so much of their personal information first. And at the same time, when they are here in this form, we currently are focusing on business loans as mentioned, so they are going to see these. And they still might have some questions, what is the best for me? So we are going to have an AI solution that is going to explain difficult terms into more simple ways of understanding. In this case, for example, let's imagine that I'm still not okay with understanding all of the information. We still would allow people to know, based on their own language, a small
स्वागत है
video, for example, in this case.
हम बिजनेस लोन सबके लिए आसान बनाते हैं
So where they would explain what is information we are collecting and why. And the same with translatable page from the start, where you can translate to the language that you actually speak. Because doing business decisions in a language that you are talking not regularly is also the biggest friction point for the majority of these users. So imagine that I'm going to select business women loans. And now I'm going to put some information. We're of course going to input the amount, the business loan, what am I looking for, and so on. And here on the left side of the pane, Tithe is always putting themselves as the partner, the educator. So it's almost like it's on your side, your companion, explaining the things. So your data, your decision, here's what we are collecting. And of course, the person might still have some questions. So we always offer information in a simple way. Of course, this is also assuming other things. For example, the person might still want to drop, they might not have all the information, or probably imagine I can be helping my aunt do this while she's working or something. So I'm able to save as a draft. And if I save as a draft, I will have a track ID, which I can use to see my application afterwards. So that we also reduce the noise of having to fill in information at several points in time. And again, we are just giving information here about the business type, and so on. Are we registered? Because there are some lenders who need this information in order to provide more stuff. So for example, if here I see find loan for me, of course, there is an optional stage that we need to consider, which is the soft credit score. The reason why I really put this as optional is because a lot of the other providers and competitors, they are using it as a free thing. They are giving it to you, but at the same time, they are going to get this information even if you don't commit to a loan with them. And people might be afraid of giving this information about them or their own business without any overview on how long they are going to do it for. But let's imagine the person is going to continue. At this point, they are still only checking for loans and wanting to see what it could be offered. Here, we already have one of them expanded. This is just for prototyping purposes. In order to be RBI compliant, none of them is going to have any special overview because we want to make it as transparent as possible. Tide is in the business of making decisions for loans easy. So we put everything in the clear. We also allow people to download the key statements and so on. They can understand what is the total cost of the loan and so on. And if they apply for a loan, this is also assuming they are currently applying and not having the friction of dropping out. We are still explaining them what they need and so on. Of course, you can still change some information in case there was a mistake. You can still save it as a draft. You can attach information and start your KYC secure process. And if you continue forward, everything is going to continue. You put your information as well. You can also double check and preview it. And last but not least, this is the first time. So when you already are reviewing the lender and you are pending approval, this is the first nudge we're going to have to the application. It's of course in our best interest to nudge people to the app because it's going to be simpler to use it. And of course, if I stay long time in the screen, I'm also going to be asked if I want to opt in for communications, because the biggest friction point for people is that they are hounded by calls, even if they do not want to commit to a loan. And that is actually quite predatory if you look at how loans are such a difficult decision for small and medium entrepreneurs. And here, for example, if I were not to install the application, I want to track it. So I would click on this button. I would use my track ID and other information that I inputted in order to have it. And here I have, for example, okay, still reviewing. Let's imagine, okay, one day passed. Here we now have the lender decision and so on. So we're able to see all of the checklist, what I need to do at this point. Again, if I still haven't given my number, I could do that. Because probably I might be having some difficulty or something. And here we can sign agreements and so on and so forth. And if we do go further in the process, again, we have a checklist of what is possible. We already have Tide advices because it's still the educational component. And overall, that's the idea. But also my idea was to also show stories, human people who were empowered. So if the person is still not sure about what to do, we have a screen showing stories where they, for instance, can get inspired about the social proof. And let me learn more about Kamala. Kamala is actually part of the story is real from Tide, an 89-year-old woman with a bookstore. But of course, I created a little bit of extra input as if she had asked for a loan. And I would see she asked for 3 lakh loan. It was approved in 4 days. She used it for this digital transition, and it has improved her to increase in sales. Because at the end of the day, Tide is giving people the key so that they can open the door to more financial capabilities. As mentioned, 1 in every 2 women has difficulties accessing loans, and Tide is opening the door for them. And they also empower women by having the Sartika partnership, by mentoring people, by giving them educational resources, because that is the Tide difference. And I think my time is up, so I would like to thank you so much for the time so far. And I would say I'm open for questions. Oh, my volume is on. Sorry.
कल्पना कीजिए कि आप बिना किसी प्रयास के अपने
Sorry.
Siddhant, Vidit, would you like to go with the questions? Yes.
Just a second, guys. I think another fine example of approaching a farm rather than a crop, right? Both Bohdan and Francisca, very articulate, very precise, and with pinpoint accuracy, I would have to say. The research shows I think what we were looking at as solutions, what we were looking at in terms of not just, the UI or the UX, the approach, right? Where are you coming from, the perspective of this problem, the empathy that you show, the real results that you want to drive for the business, and how we are thinking comprehensively. So I think a good example, a couple of things that we'll have to go in, I think. You want to start? Or
I think just one of this definitely was one of the most well-researched presentation that we have seen. I think you were able to cover the competitors very well, all of the different segments that you covered for each of the competitors in terms of comparing individual stages at which one of them was better or not better. I think the teardown was very well done. I think that was something that was most impressive. Other than that, I think I really liked the smaller details that you focused on, which was making the unproductive parts of the journey a bit more productive. There's the waiting screens, the call pop-up that you have for, if a customer is facing some issues, I think you have a 5-second delay there, and then a pop-up button. I think those kinds of things are what really ensure that those drop-offs are being minimized, or that, like Siddhant mentioned, the looking at the farm as a whole, that you're able to cross-sell other products while the customer waits for other things to be done, and so on. So I think that approach was very well done. And if you want to add something to that.
No, I think I'll just basically, I again want to get from inception to delivery, right? Where did this, I want both of you to, walk us through, how did you approach the problem? How did you research? How did you see what you had to see? And then, like, for you to build those personas, for you to have Kamala Devi, for you to have vernacular, right? See, localization is good, but the way that it was presented, there is obviously a structure that you guys have thought of, right? Maybe walk me through your blueprint, walk me through how you planned it.
Yeah.
That's good.
Thank you so much for the question. So first of all, as you can see, I am Portuguese. I am not Indian. Bohdan himself is Ukrainian. So first of all, if we're doing a market for Tithe, we need to ensure that we are focusing on the India markets. Of course, the first big problem for us was we are working on mobile-oriented version first, and then it was asked to create a desktop-oriented. And then it was really the point, we wanted to be a new experience for Tithe. So I took inspiration from Tithe Germany, from Tithe England, but of course I still have to remember India is different. People in tier 3, tier 4 are different from people in tier 1, tier 2. People who have a farm or have a kirana are going to have very different use cases of financial literacy and even literacy in terms of English or Hindi, which in current terms, Tithe only provides those 2 languages. So for us, it was really important that we were covering the entire market, competitor analysis as well, and introducing new aspects, because doesn't mean that you cannot reinvent a wheel on loans. The thing here that we want to locate ourselves is women have underrepresented help, and Tithe is positioning themselves as a partner. So we are educating every step of the way. And for us, this was a market to be explored. So once we understood that the focus was women, was making sure that we tailored everything with real data backed by real current important stories of women. And women empowerment happens through various ways. I can read that. I will let my colleague speak as well for his parts.
Yeah. So
There are a couple of things, guys. On one side, how we exactly did research, there are two parts, as Francisca mentioned. First of all, we are quite new to the market, which also give us kind of advantage because we look at everything with fresh eyes, okay? That's one point. The second point, in terms of practical approaches, I would say women was targeted specifically because we knew that there are lots of, I would say, entrepreneurial vibes in those areas. So women was one of the category. We definitely read lots of reports, YouTube videos. We were trying to compare lots of competitors. Which Francisca did lots of good jobs around going to competitor page, check them around, what they do wrong, what they do good. So we have comparison of features, comparison pain points, which if you want, we can show you the whole slide is all the comparison we did by one of the value which they did really good. We try to get inspired by them, but also see it through your lenses, you know, because last thing we want to do is to really just replicate them. And because, you know, simple replication of the product wouldn't work without having your journey in that. And Francisca maybe show very quickly what we have. But I would say that was a crucial point. Taking and comparing multiple features. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's here or not. Yeah, so as you see, we have like different type of pain points or drop-offs. We analyze each competitor here and also position time across all of them, which also give us a clue what we have to focus on, you know, for you specifically. But maybe there's a long answer. Maybe you have specific questions to answer follow-up questions on this point.
No, I think this is clear and concise enough. I like the fact that you were able to have that perspective that fresh eyes don't necessarily mean a disadvantage, right? With that approach, I think that has shown itself in the final result, the delivery that has happened, right? Approaching a new market, approaching a new geography, approaching a new problem statement, right? And assuming certain things, right? Going through the competitors, I just have maybe one more question around when you were designing this, right? And if you could just quickly share the prototype, Francisca, Bohdan, whoever wants to.
Let me go into the prototype. Yeah. So I'm going to show it here, but I can also do the entire prototype from the start if you want.
No. Just we'll just quickly go. Yeah. Right. We'll move towards the loan application journey, the part where, right? So yeah, again. So if you take a look at your, you know, the linear flow that you've done, right? So now above the loan overview. Now just walk me through. Did you guys apply, try? How did you do your research there? And what was the decision making behind, you know, keeping product types like this on this screen, and then moving towards an overview, then moving towards, you know, getting those touch points that you wanted to add, make sure drop-offs are not happening, and you know you're maintaining that efficiency. So just walk me through this exact part.
Yeah. So first of all, as mentioned, we were looking at current solutions in the market at the same time where I personally would have the most difficulties, because given I'm not Indian, I would have probably some of the same difficulties that a rural woman, not so much into the bureaucracy of things, might have. So when we were creating the screen, first of all, I tried to use things that are similar, use iconography that makes decisions more simple. But at the same time, I tried to balance what do I absolutely need to have in order to first receive just the offerings, just to get to the comparison stage, because at this point I might not commit. And the fact that some other providers are sometimes patronizing me to a choice and forcing me to a big choice, which is committing to a loan, to me was the biggest friction point, because we cannot put ourselves as you are putting your number here, it means you are going to have a loan with us. No, we are here to provide you the best possible options, and you might stay because we covered your needs. So once that was out in the way, I made sure that we used clean design, where things are very clear. On this side, as mentioned, we are the partner, we are explaining. And on this side, I'm having information about what we are going to do and so on. So if we go to actually the presentation itself, I highlighted in the presentation where we were focusing in each screen. So in this case, for example, on the loan overview, we really want us to focus, what are you looking for? Money, right? That's the first question. I still don't know what is the type of loan, because, for example, for new businesses, sometimes people go for a gold loan instead of going for a business loan.
Perfect.
Right?
So that's the question. See, now the assumption is that first part must have is the amount of money you're looking for, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Then how can you source it? What is the end use, right?
Yes, completely.
Okay, perfect. And then basically that's how you were designing it to fulfill that requirement.
Yes. Give us the amount of information first that you would ask a small lender. I need money and I need for this. That's it. That's how it is in a human-to-human interaction.
So now that's where I think now this is where I want to start a little bit of a devil's advocate argument, right? So the business side of the Indian lending industry, they have a couple of must-haves, right? A must-have is a credit score.
Yes.
A must-have is access to a financial document, which is in this geography considered as PAN, right? Now, after that, then there is financial information. Depending on the product type, you'll have to fulfill that. So now, this exact part, you could have added, right? For both you and Bohdan, you could have added that credit score part, right?
We added as optional.
Sorry?
We added as optional, as mentioned in a later screen.
Yes. No, I'm saying on this screen, you could have taken, or maybe even in the next one, you could have taken that authentication, because that's a must-have, right? That's a regulatory requirement. So that's where I think I'm getting to, and I just want to understand that. That what was the rationale behind that?
Well, the rationale behind it is, for example, I am a freelancer myself, okay, and I applied for loans in other markets to try to compare. And as mentioned, at the same time, we wanted to be RBI compliant, and there was no specific compliance terms on RBI draft guidelines or guidelines between 2015 and now that mandate that it has to be in the first screens. They just mandate that once the loan is being requested, it is at some stage in the point. So for us, the assumption was this doesn't have to be requested from the start. But I will give my word to Bohdan as well. Sorry.
Okay, please, Bohdan.
Yeah. Sorry. So there are two principles we're following in this specific part when it comes to a credit part, pull instead of push. We want people to be curious to take, decision to apply for the loan based on all the marketing and part and communication principles, but at the same time to build trust, If you start people asking too many details, especially credit score, which might be considered as sensitive at the first screen, you skipping this trust point, And especially when things comes to money, people need trust. And when people need trust, in such cases like loaning money, it's really getting quite sensitive, I'm not sure about how perception of such things in India, but in Europe, it is. So, right, we also try to apply such principles of trust and building step by step as we go through the screens. So people understand all the steps that are there to build trust to get your desired result. So you have to go through first point, second point, third point, and credit score, if it's a must-have, then we can have it in the last principle, in the last stages. But for us, it was about building a little trust from beginning till the end of getting that loan. Because in the end, it's a trust, question that people always would have in their mind.
Understood. So that can come from two perspectives, right? Urgency of access to capital, and then again, like you said, trust is very important. So I think I've fairly understood. I don't have any further questions.
I think just adding there, I think I get your point on trust. I think that is why in the Indian market, they've sold this product, I would say, as more of a service rather than an issue of trust, where they say, hey, come check your free credit score. So it comes off as an opportunity rather than something to be worried about. And this way, you get access to the information as well as, an easier scheme of trust. So I think that is how at least the Indian market has dealt with the challenge of, the trust coming as a factor in between accessing the
I
credit.
think like the way they were saying, right, they wanted to empathize it, but that's what I wanted to see, whether they wanted to be, are they wanting to delay ripping the Band-Aid off, or do you rip the Band-Aid off and then talk about
initially,
right? So that's I think they've explained.
Got
it. Francisca and Bohdan.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Thanks so much, guys. Thanks. we have to very
If I
clear.
can quickly explain something, also the reasoning with the credit score was there are several videos from Paisa Bazaar and other providers where they explain that requesting a credit, you can give the hard score or the soft score. The soft score meaning it's going to be a score made by the aggregator, right? They are going to check it for you. They get the access via third-party service. It's secure and so on. But a lot of the reviews or bad reviews on these providers is every month they are doing my credit score, even though I did not actively give them decision for that. So that was the reasoning was it is a friction point for other people. It is a friction point when you are just trying to see the solutions in the market. And at the same time, why am I going to already give you this information about me, which is private and might actually have impact on my current business if I still have not committed yet? So for us, it was really a reasoning of once you are ready to commit, we ask for it because of course it's mandatory. But should you have to give it from the start? Probably not, because people are going to drop off there.
Understood. Fair enough. Makes sense. I think that's where we wanted to get to, right? We really wanted to understand how you were approaching it, right?
Yeah.
And to have I think this exercise more than the tear down was, again, as I was mentioning to all the other competitors, it's about how are you approaching the farm, right? How will you do it? What's the environment? So on and so forth, right? And, I would have to say, thoroughly impressive, guys. Very well done.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Francisca. Thanks, Bohdan. I will request you also to go off the stage for now.
Yeah.
I think Siddhant, Vidit, I think Anshul sir is also here. If you can, just wanted to give a couple of lines on how the overall decks and presentations were, and then maybe you can take 5 minutes or 10 minutes to decide on the judging criteria and who are the winners.
All right. Thanks, Abhay. Thanks, Siddhant, Nakshi, and all the participants. So it was a wonderful effort done by each and every one of you, right? And even the ones who could not present today, right? It was a great participation from everyone. And everything, right, has brought some perspective into the overall, let's say, how we can approach this entire problem. So just taking some notes from 1, 2, right? So each and every presentation, right? So the product in the end, which I envisage for this piece, right, has little bits of each and every presentation in the last 6, 7 presentations which I have seen, right? So I think it's a pretty good work done, right? So just giving you the entire overview about this entire piece, right? That what are we trying to see in this piece? So yes, I think couple 2 to 3 guys have really covered on the women in business problem pretty well, right? Wherein we really want to target that aspect, right? And it is not just a PR strategy for us, but inclusivity is what we really want to bring and target upon. It is not a very easy task to do, wherein how the so most of you guys already understand the market pretty well, right? So Siddhant and Vidit, you can carry on the work, right? I'll take these 10 minutes in summarizing the entire piece, right? So meanwhile you can just evaluate the guys, so where I was talking about that in Indian market, right? So those 10-15% would be the guys, right, who would have that kind of a score, and everybody wants to just cater to those guys, right? So that's a chicken and egg problem which everyone wants to solve here, right? So you have a score as credit score, and you just target those guys. Somebody who is not in that ecosystem, how can so it is really difficult for the lenders to even trust them and trust them with a very basic value to give the credit history to them. I think therein we have done a very good job in UK, at least, in the Tide piece, wherein we have brought in a product called Credit Builder there. So that actually builds up the credit for the users, right? So yes, credit score check is one of the first basic point. If it is -1 or anything, then the next point has to be that how can I build credit for you? So there are multiple ways of getting that piece. Maybe it could be a secured kind of a minimal kind of a security back loan which we can really offer the guys, right? So it could be as simple as that. We bring in some product like deposit 10,000 as an FD kind of a thing and get a loan against that, right? And that builds up a credit, right? So if not now, then at least after 6 months or 1 year, you'll be part of that formal ecosystem. So in fact, this Tuesday only, I was in Agra. You can call it as a tier 2 city, right? And with Agra, everyone will associate with tourism, right? So there would be. So I was just doing a road show there with almost 65 odd people had attended that event. 80% of them were women entrepreneurs, 15% being the male guys, and I had gone in with a certain pitch, right? That it's associated with tourism, right? Agra, Taj Mahal, tourism. I'll talk about tourism. This is how tourism brings in and that, right? And when I went there, right, I could just sense the atmosphere because the Indian women. So somebody mentioned a term called auntie or anything, right? But again, the Indian women having the entire kind of attire which they wear in tier 2, tier 3 cities, right? Um, covering the head with the chunnis and everything, right? So that was the audience which was present, right? And my PR team had given me the entire note in English to present to them, right? And when I saw that, I knew that this will not work here, and I just kept my phone aside and I said I'll just talk in Hindi. Which sometimes I believe that sometimes to even translate English into Hindi becomes difficult to us, right? To connect to the audience, but yet again, when I started talking about to them, right, it came out to be, right, these guys want to trust people, right? These guys, and so the first thing which I did was I said, what business are you in, right? And you won't believe, there was not a single person who was actually dealing into direct tourism kind of a thing, right? So everyone, so somebody was in shoemaking, right? Somebody was in handloom kind of a piece. uh, then there were milk vendors, they were doing some sweets, somebody was making achar kind of a thing, right? So that was the audience which came to attend this piece, right? And we did this in association with the Women and Child Development Department of India, right? And they gathered this audience for us, and yes, the main important, I think, for the next hour we were just talking about credit, right? That was the only topic everyone wanted to talk about, right? That how can I really get credit? As somebody says, I have a good score, but the experiences with all these fintechs have been bad from my side, right? So they follow up too much on the call, they come to the home, they get signed. So only 10% of these again could actually read English, right? So 90% could were like, they get the document signed from us which we don't know about, right? So that's the reality when we really talk about on the ground level, right? Uh, so breaking this entire piece, I think we said, okay, it's English, Hindi, everyone has WhatsApp, everyone has Facebook, everyone has Amazon kind of a thing, right? We live in a certain notion which we are comfortable about, right? But the ground reality is harsh, right? All these documents, agreements are in English, right? And they know. So I'll maybe share an example here. So one of the lender, right, even work with that kind of with that lender, right? They said they promised that till three. So you take this kind of a loan, you have that credit line with you. You just get it, right? The guys were trying to do their own targets, and they said, okay, even in 3 months you want to repay, no interest would be charged in the next 3 months. In 6 months it would be just a very minimal kind of amount. When this woman, right, went to close down her loan, she knew that this might be a trap, right? Although she did fell into the trap, but then when she went to the branch as well, and I want to close this space, the loan amount, the interest rate was almost as close to 40%, right? Which she said, on 1 lakh kind of a loan, I have to now repay almost 140,000, right? That's the reality which they said. She was just asking me, just let me know, or just give me some contact or anything, that I can pay up to 25,000, but 40,000 is just too much for me to pay. How can I get this done? The financial literacy is at the weakest there. We have so many schemes running, right? They are not aware of the schemes at all, right? So if I just google it right now, right? So some of you have really mentioned that point, wherein we can use the financial literacy, but in the product, how do we use that financial literacy? Can I become a regtech kind of a person, right, wherein I can see all the policies, I take the data out of the same, right? And then I know if somebody, let's say maybe from an Udyam registration number, or maybe from their business category, their salary, their in and out, right? We say, okay, this guy is actually eligible for that kind of a scheme, and for that scheme, there is a subsidy of 3% or 5%, or maybe there is an instant 1 lakh which can be, they can avail directly, right, in their accounts. And that would be a lender, or so maybe, so government has again put it into various different lenders. So for one of the scheme, there would be an SBI kind of a bank serving those customers. For other schemes, there are local NGOs, they have impaneled with, right, who will distribute this entire loan for them, right? So there is lot of work which can be done, right, on the grassroots level, right, on this space. So so not just the women empowerment piece, but even for the others, right? The problem is exactly the same, right? So another guy, right, he says, I have been supplying the shoes to Nike, right? How do I? So the Nike puts a tag of 5,000, and he's taking me, giving me only 500 on those shoes, right? And I want to maybe grow the business. I want a certain. I want to build my own brand, right? For that, I need capital. I have everything online, right? Online in the sense, nothing is cash for me here, right? I'm dealing with these companies wherein everything gets into the account itself, right? But still, if I have to just go for a 10 lakh kind of a loan, right, it's a hassle for me to get into. In my so the problem for him was the area where he stays, right? uh, Government in some of the schemes gave loan to all the farmers there, and they didn't repay, so all the lenders have blacklisted that pin code itself. But out of that pin code, he is the one who's actually doing the right business. He says, why am I, what is my problem here, right, if the pin code is getting blacklisted? So the problems, I think, if we try to just single out all of these problems, right, these can be solved, right? So if not one of the lender, the other lender can really work on this particular case, right? It is not just, so just blacklisting the entire pin code can be, so either we may become that kind of a chain wherein we talk to the lenders, we say, okay, this is the history, this is the things, right? And we work upon the same. The supply chain kind of financing is let's say buzzword in the Indian market, right? But then again, that is a big piece, wherein these guys can are awaiting their payments from some parties, and then they need short-term kind of loans, right? So that they can really work on those aspect, right? So so breaking down the problem on all of those kind of pieces, when we actually talk about tier 2, tier 3, right, it really cannot be imagined sitting in our homes, right? And we do kind of a research somewhere on these articles, and we try to build our minds. The primary research is again that kind of a method which has to be used, right? When we try to solve these problems, right? Yes, each and every company looks for profitability, right? That how can I achieve profitability, right? I'm not in here for a not for profit kind of an organization, but let's say by the time I am growing, right, how can this, there could be a short term, so when we plan the entire product roadmap, right, there could be some short term kind of a wins for me, that I have a sustainable business kind of a thing to get this moving in a certain stage, and then these things start coming in and kicking in, right? So somebody presented with the integration with the Udyam, right? It is a wonderful piece, right? So not just 48,000 right now, it's almost not just you said somewhat at around 4.8 cr, but it is almost 6 cr, right? And this thing started just three years back, right? In 3 years, each and every person in that's actually now registering into Udyam. And if they are not registering to Udyam, I think that becomes the first step for the lending for us to get them to register to the Udyam, right? And then now we talk about the different pieces, right? It's a very simple kind of a form that in the back end. So while we are creating that application, that is the information that is required even for creating the Udyam account. I say this is the number, and as a Tide platform, I keep that number with me, right? In his profile, right? That yes, this is the number. Tomorrow I have to retarget this guy, and howsoever I want to target this is the piece. Once, let's say, I know that okay, he has crossed a 5 lakh or a 10 lakh kind of a customer on this piece. Then I talk about the GST registrations, right? With the GST registrations, more data come in, right? And I say that okay, you are filing GST on time, that this is you can be eligible for the better lender, right? Sometimes I think showing all the lenders, so let's say I show them 5, 6, 10 codes, right? Even that is not a good experience, right? Because I'll be so when I go to the policy bazaar, if I have to just take a simple insurance, seeing 20 policies, sometimes I say okay, I need to talk to my advisor, right? Rather than going into each and every policy, he'll tell me all the details about it. Because in India, again, from the mentality, right, we are so much uh, the human connect is what sometimes we look forward to, right? I think for most of these us guys, right, if we have the credit cards, we would have never actually applied for the credit card, right? With the bank, I would have just signed a certain forms, and the credit card comes to the home itself, right? That's how we are actually trained for, right? And uh, uh, the privacy parts, maybe it is coming out right now in lot of aspects, right, wherein RBI is looking at these pieces, right? But from the customer's angle, privacy is least of their concerns. Maybe generally we to the strangers, right? I come to you and I say that I can provide you a loan. He'll give me all his bank statements, he'll give me all his details, even on a WhatsApp, right? He'll give me everything, he'll share it everything to me. Okay, get me a loan, right? I want a loan, right? You take everything, whatever you want, right? Maybe that's how as Indians, especially in tier 2 to 3 cities, because the requirement is so huge, and the supply is so less for them. I'm okay to give all the information, right? To any and everyone, right? So taking consideration of all of these aspects, like one by one, I think these are too many parameters which
No, but Anshul,
we
sorry to stop you, but I'll ask one specific question with respect to the problem that people have worked on here, right?
Mm.
there are so many of, and specifically with the digital lending, so many of data points available for us, so many of API integrations available for us. Okay, you do KYC, you do video KYC, now you do CIBIL, now you do Aadhaar, now you do address verification, maybe then on top of that business verification across Udyam, GSTI and data. On top of that, you have account aggregators to pull off your bank statements and all the other details also, right? There are two aspects to it. Right? One is obviously that you are trying to make the user journey simpler, right? Because it's a one click, one OTP, probably user will love it and less drop off. Second aspect is also cost, because all the API call comes with a cost, certain cost, right?
Absolutely.
How do you, at least from the Tide perspective, look at those decisions whenever you want to integrate a third party API or any sort of integrations into the user journey as of today?
So absolutely right question, Abhay. Right. So I think we are into that journey, right? I have zero integrations as of now. To start with, we started the loan kind of a journey about 4 to 5 months back, right? The entire piece is you work on the ground. You tell me which lenders are good to integrate with, right? Where we can get our businesses from, because not just the API integration cost, even the engineering product cost, right, which I would invest in integrating those pieces is a big cost to me, right? So it is more of like hit and trial basis, right? That's the either Siddhant Vidit, right? They come from those experience. They say, okay, this is the must which I have to do. Fine, go ahead with this particular piece. Let us talk about the business model, right? In the business model, get each and every cost built in, right? So the PNL is Siddhant's PNL for the loan, right? And it has to be positive, if not now, maybe in 3 months or 6 months, right? That is a plan which the business heads bring into, right? That in 6 months we become profitable, operationally profitable kind of a business, right? And then from there, some of these things are really necessary, like for example integration with the rating agency is like a must, right? Integration with the PAN Karza is a must, right? These two are the basic things which one has to really move forward to. Without that, there is like even the lead which I am giving to the lender, right, they will not consider the same, right? Because they say you are giving me 15,000 leads and out of those 10 are really useful for me, then the lender relationship gets spoiled there itself, right? So there has to be mix and match to start with. But then in the entire, so one we talk about is the near term or a short term, like the Q1, the quarterly planning. And then we always have an end state where we want to go in an end state. And this discussion which we are doing is that how I can go into an end state model, right? End state can be not in 2025, maybe by the end of 2026. I'm fine with that, right? It's a long term business which we want to grow, right? But maybe by the end of 2026 I have all these 15 things which I want to do,
Yeah.
right? And that's how we will plan it accordingly.
Super. I think good discussion, but in the interest of time, I'll have to stop this because we are already
Yes.
Yes.
15 minutes over time.
No, but anyways, Abhay, I'll connect, the 3, 4 of us.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
It's good. Anyways, we are having that discussion on Monday.
Yes.
Whenever you're back in town, I'll make sure that you get a chat in with Anshul sir and Gurjot
Yeah,
sir.
yeah, yeah.
Right. Quick update. I think after a very hard job again, uh, we are back with the results. Uh, we have the leaderboard and we have the podium. Right. It has not been easy, but I would have to say I want to thank product folks, the community, the team, the participants for taking out the time. Right. Uh, I would say more than I think with 100% clarity we knew going into this exercise we'll find what we were looking for, and that's what has happened today. Right, the right set of people, the right set of eyes on the problem. Right, and I think I would have to say thanks to Abhay, thanks to Nakshi, thanks to Vidit for that matter of fact also, and for a very painstakingly long process that we've gone through here. But congratulations to everyone who participated, people who were not able to make it. we've had a quick chat between me and Vidit. We'll try to do a floor access exercise or a quick call between either a Vidit or me for even the people who get honorable mentions, right? We'll try to close within the next month, April. We'll either Vidit, either me, we will sit one-on-one for 15 minutes with each team that was not even able to make it, right? Because we want to make sure that those people understand uh, that they were not ignored, they were not less evaluated, or it's just the way we wanted to approach the problem can be different, right? So that's what is going to happen. We wanted to do that before we announce this. I think for the leaderboard and for the podium, we'll go for the podium first and then the rest of the people. Do you want to like tell them how do you want to start?
We do reverse order 3, 2, 1, right?
Yeah, that's what we are doing. So I think at number 3, for articulation, for the KYC photo, and for the industry knowledge, I would have to say Abhishek, right? For both of us, Abhishek, Jen, congratulations.
We have Abhishek on the stage also, Nakshi, I think. Yes. You're muted.
Abhishek, you are on mute.
Yeah, so sorry. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much.
Congrats, Abhishek. I think feedback was given a lot of, we had that conversation. I would have to say congratulations, and I would have to say we'll look forward to getting in touch, right? The entire podium gets to have a conversation for a full-time opportunity here. We already announced that prizes are there. We'll be having, one-on-one sessions for sure with the podium, and for the honorable mentions and the leaderboard, that will also happen. Obviously, for the podium, it's going to be a larger exercise, right? Good job, Abhishek. Anything you want to add?
Yeah, I think you were perfectly spot on with your entire process and your journey. I think it was more or less exactly to the point what we were looking for. I think you were able to cover all of your bases. The photo gave you an additional, of course, bonus point like that. So we did take that into consideration. But yeah, it was a very good journey you made. It was perfectly crisp, spot on, to the point. So good job.
Great. If I could just ask one thing from you guys, if you could just highlight through 2 or 3 of constructive criticism that you have for the deck, something that I could have done better in my approach while designing the journey.
Finished it even more. We knew that the last slide aapne complete nahi kari thi, right?
The entire thing was not. So I spent only 5 minutes on the actual deck. Most of my time went into research, testing APIs.
We could feel that. Yes, we could. See, that's why we were talking, right? There's a lot of constructive criticism. We'll dive. So when we do these opportunity discussions, and when we do these, the next steps after this, those are going to be a larger deep dives, right? And we'll go even further. So be rest assured about that. We'll come for that with you guys, right?
Great.
Congrats, and looking forward.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everybody. And
Congratulations, Abhishek.
Abhishek, congrats.
Congratulations.
Yes.
At number 2, with I think the easiest consensus that both me and Vidit had, Raja Thejas, right? If he's on stage, I want to say this to him in person. Hey, hi, Raja.
Yeah, he's on stage.
Hi, Raja.
Hi, Raja. So, brilliant example of a PM presenting a teardown like a business plan. The life cycle, the way that he was talking, I don't mean necessarily a business plan in terms of numbers. It was more a strategy. It was more a way of thinking. It was more aligned with what we were looking for and how you approach the problem, right? Encompassing Tide as a whole, consuming it, thinking from our shoes. So Raja, brilliant job done. We obviously are going to be getting in touch. We are going to be, deep diving into your deck with you, right, in person. That's how the opportunities are going to materialize or not. We'll have these conversations. Abhay and Nakshi, you can obviously, tell us the next steps, how we'll move forward.
Yeah.
Sure. Yes.
Couple of things that I want to highlight, Raja, are there was a connected thought process from slide 1 to slide end, right? So that's what stood out for us. That every time you know, even if you branched out, we knew you were branching out for a context and coming back. So right, that presented itself. So congratulations, I think, with it.
So I think Raja, I mean, I feel like you must have seen this coming a little bit, considering, you know, when your time was up, and you know there was Siddhant's enthusiasm of, you know, give him all the time he needs. So I think we saw that coming a little bit, but also the fact that we really did want to see where you were going with your presentation, because every slide and every aspect of it that you showed just interested us a little more. I was waiting for the part where you would be covering my job as well. It's a good thing, because you were looking at the entire journey from every perspective, which was every department that would be involved in it, whether it was more of a risk focus or a business focus. You were able to look from every perspective and ensure that you were covering all of the bases for all of the stakeholders that may be involved in the process like that, including the customer, of course, more so the customer. So I think a very good job on that. I think we were very eager to just things that we did not even, you know, expect or imagine. I think you were able to include some of those things as well. So it was fairly, you know, surprising and in a positive note. So good, really good work on that.
I think you're on mute,
Raja.
Mute. I think you're on mute.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for your words, like Siddhant, Vidit, and Anshul. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure. I think for the medal today at the podium, the people I think we spoke the longest to in terms of, you know, understanding how they were approaching it. Francisca and Bohdan. We'll have to absolutely get them on the stage and have this conversation.
Thank you so much. That's an honor. It was,
Yeah.
first of all, thank you so much for the challenge. It was so interesting to get into the Indian market. We just came from a hackathon where we also had to revolutionize farming for Indian farmers. So all this research actually helped us in the hackathon. But yeah, thank you so much.
No, so I think a couple of points to note out, which is what we were talking about, right? The way you approached the problem, right? It was very clear to us that you started with a blueprint, you started with the architecture, you knew what you were bringing to us, right? And the thought process, the approach to market, the user persona, right? And then after all of that, and your market research and everything, after, I think the last part would be your, you know, the finishing that you gave, the visual journey, the story. But even before we saw the visuals, we knew what we were about to see. So that's what conveyed in both of your work, right? Bohdan and Francisca. I think the method behind the madness revealed itself, right? So that was very good. That was very, very, very good. We'll be very, very happy and aligned to looking forward to these next conversations. We'll have these chats, right? We will obviously go deeper, right, into these conversations, and looking forward. Congratulations, guys. Great job,
Thank you so
Bohdan
much.
and Francisca, both.
Thank you.
Congrats.
Congratulations. Yeah.
Guys.
So I think apart from the podium, I think we want to be very clear about the top, between the top 7 and 8, how we have placed the rest. After you know, Abhishek, we had a discussion around Manav. So we'll have to put Manav at position 4. For us, Manav was very good in, you know, the approach that he brought to the table, the way he was answering the questions, and the way he was able to, you know, lead the chat around the friction, right? So that's also going to happen for that aspect. One thing that we wanted to be very clear about is that when we were mentioning that people who were not able to you know, meet the criteria to even present today, those people will have 15 minutes. For Manav, and the rest of the people who were not in the podium today, we will be having at least an hour between me or Vidit to have these chats, to have constructive feedback, and we'll see how that goes, right? So good job, Manav. Thanks for taking out the time, right? Very, very close, right? And looking forward to interact.
Thank you so much. Like, it was a very good opportunity for me. Like, I come from a marketing background, and that too, not from fintech. So it was a first timer experience for me, be it the kind of market research or be it using Figma. So yeah, it was a lot of learning. Thank you.
That was very good work. Good job.
Good job.
Thank you.
Post that if you want
to. So I think post that, we were going with Prabhat here right after Manav. So if we can have Prabhat here as well.
Hey, hi Prabhat.
Hi Prabhat.
Hey, hi.
So I think Prabhat, you had, I mean, of course, just like anyone else, you had a very good presentation. I think we were fairly impressed even when you had submitted the deck. So therein itself, I think your industry knowledge, how well you had applied it throughout the journey. I mean, the way it encompassed, the entire product flow that you had come up with, the entire universe of it, but you were able to just plug in the little intelligences of the industry. I think that was very well done. So overall, it came out really well. Of course, certain levels maybe comparatively fell short in certain places, but I think overall the journey was very well made.
Yeah.
So you could see all of the hard work that you put in. So really good work on that.
Good job, Prabhat.
Yeah, Gordon. I just understood one point from the top three. You can say. I think they thought of every step, like drop offs and all. Like maybe I just didn't think that much. I'm not again from fintech background, so this is the first time I made a deck on fintech. So it's an improvement point for me. But thank you.
No, but I think you were still able to consider the account aggregator, credit score, and stuff. So I think you still did a fair amount of research. I think it was still
even if it's your first time, right, Prabhat? The approach was meticulous enough, right? And anyways, I think one very simple thing is attempt count matters, right?
Yes.
Your attempt count 1 has yielded in result X, right? So maybe attempt count down the line, when you start increasing those attempts, I'm pretty sure there is an attempt, there is a challenge that you're facing.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Right. Thanks. Post Prabhat, we have Gayathri. Gayathri with her, I think, is she here? Oh, she's here. Yeah. Hi, Gayathri. So I think Gayathri with her approach to the onboarding and with vernacular, right? And I would have to say the UI part, with which the way you wanted to structure it. Obviously, a couple of experiments that alternative underwriting with UPI and so on and so forth. So a little bit of, I think you showed foresight, right? So that foresight stood out to us. Obviously, the effort was there, the finishing was there. Good job done, and I'm looking forward to speaking to you again, right? With it.
Yeah, I think you were the futuristic aspects you were talking about. I think you were able to bring in some really fresh ideas. The alternate data through the UPI was very good. I think just connecting it with the current scenario and the present, I think would go a long way. So I think all of the ideas were absolutely brilliant. I think everything was very impressive to us as well. I think just in terms of a practical application, I think if we are able to connect that, it goes a long way. So I think really good work.
You are on mute, Gayathri.
Yeah. Gayathri, you're on mute.
Oh, I think.
Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry. No, I was just saying thank you for the opportunity. Next time I think I'll just make it a little more realistic layout. The the core flow first, and then bring in these other aspects instead of mixing it into the same flow. I think
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Next we have Pasha and Mohammed.
Yeah, last but not the least, right? I think Vipasha and Mohammed, if you both can.
I guess they are not here.
Oh, they dropped.
Yes,
Pasha,
they are not here.
they're not.
I think those guys dropped.
Yes, she is there.
It's
Just a
okay.
second.
Yeah,
Bipasha
yeah,
is here.
yeah, they are here.
Oh, okay.
Hello, hi.
Hey, hi,
Thank you so
Vipasha.
much. I really appreciate the feedback, and it was a very good learning experience for me, especially with all the AI tools working on designing the websites. We wasted a lot of time working with AI tools, and then eventually got back to basics, and we used Framer. We could not do a lot of things, but then your feedback has been immensely helpful for me, especially coming from like I work at a bank, and I realized that we have a very sales driven culture here, and that's going to stay with me for a very long time.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's
No,
absolutely.
but I think it was a good perspective that you brought in from like different areas as well. It was not 100% just a singular linear approach to things. I think it was nice to have all of those different ideas bring in. So I think it's just tying things together is where it matters. So don't sell yourself short on all of the ideas that you brought in. And I think as Siddhant has been mentioning, look at the farm. I think at the very least you were able to look at the entire farm very well. I think Anshul sir also mentioned that. So I think really good job on that.
Thank you so much.
Good job, guys. I think that about wraps it up for the day.
Sure. Thanks, Siddhant. Thanks, Vidit. Thanks, Anshul sir, also for your time on Saturday. Absolutely love to have this entire teardown experience. The level of the decks that we have received is also pretty good, but at the same time, the responses that we've had from you and Vidit specifically, in terms of evaluating the decks, in terms of guiding the people during the presentations, AMA, or even at the time when they're trying to submit, I think was phenomenal. We have had examples where many of the times companies do challenges or teardowns, but do not give enough time to the participants or decks. And that is the feedback that we have seen this time from the participants, that they love the responsiveness from Tide at each point of this teardown challenge. So really glad that you did this with the community, with the product folks, and with the people who have submitted their decks or even presented today. And yeah, I mean, for the people who have been have won, congratulations. And for people who couldn't win, we will reach out to both of you, I think, early next week itself, and start the further conversations and further processes.
Absolutely. So the list is, the list for above, apart from the, in the top 15, even the ones that didn't make it to the top 7, right? We will send that list. You can push it out to the group.
I'll do it.
Right, Abhay and Akshi, just like every other challenge, just like every other project in life, right? There are always some teething issues. There are always some processes and challenges, but the outcome right here in front of all of us, right? There was no doubt how product folks and this exercise will fare out. It has, surpassed expectations. Looking forward, and Tide will be back, right, with another project, another teardown.
Absolutely,
right?
Yeah.
Right. Thanks to all the participants, to the entire community. Thanks.
Super.
Thank you. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
You can just exit the call and then you can leave this.